video. There's just no way. 1 second. Jesus Christ. Oh shit, you know what? I forgot to hit that button. Oops. Hi, how's it going, guys? Me, dude. I don't know what to even... Zoomers in their TikTok attention span? Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's not... I have to sit there and try and find more than an hour and 42 minutes of commentary to put over the President Sunday video of him reacting to Vaush's video. Does he give a summary of what his opinion is at the beginning?
I'm gonna say, without having seen a bit of it, that the video's bad. It's bad for a very simple reason. The context of this video being released was Vaush, I think in the same stream, I could be mistaken, in the same stream as he was calling conservatives, pedophiles and so on, and lolly consumers and whatnot, accidentally opened up a folder on stream, in which we saw a to be sorted folder in which we saw a bunch of images involving primarily very underage looking girls, and a bunch of really grotesque horse bestiality porn. And that part doesn't interest me. The underage part is what interests me. By interests me, I mean the underage part is the part that concerns me. This is saved to his device. His immediate reaction, which I can't blame him for.
Careful, Sunday. What part of that is interesting to you, Sunday? Careful, Sunday.
The only reaction was to end stream and to pretend like nothing happened.
Oh shit! I just realized that.
At his scale, that's possible. Oops. If someone's going to catch that, you have multiple thousands of people watching you. There's always going to be someone who's recording for whatever reason. It was done at that point. H3 picked it up. They went over it. They said, "Yikes! That looks pretty f***ed up, Vaush. What's wrong with you?" And while this is going on, he tweeted out, "Hey guys, I'm in a haircut. I'm getting a haircut right now, but I'd love to come on and explain my side of things." And then in DMs,
didn't I just speed it up? This is 1.5
he was offered
guys.
by Ethan Klein from H3 to come on. Vaush declined, saying that they were necessarily bad faith or something. And then Vaush said afterwards, "Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'll let you come on to my show, okay? And I'll be willing to talk to you there." Ethan said, "Yeah, sure." And then Vaush declined again. So right off the bat, he's handled this as poorly as he possibly can. He then made a video immediately after H3's stream on him. I guess he didn't then make a video. Immediately after H3's first stream on him, he went live himself and tried to explain. He did a couple of things. The first thing he did was he couched everything he was saying, and this is just part of a long trend of people who just hate me for no reason. People just hate me. People just hate Vaush. They're just trying to get at me, and so all the stuff you see people saying about the lolly porn on my computer. Yeah, that's just the typical smear campaign. We've all seen this before. This is old. We've debunked this. This has been thoroughly debunked. It's over. So we all know he famously tried to argue that, hey, look, in his defense, he didn't realize that this stuff was lolly porn. He didn't realize his characters were intended to be underage or looked underage. He thought they were short stacks, like the way goblins are depicted in anime. They're kind of squat, they're short. Maybe they even have sort of babyish faces because of the chibi style. The thing about short stack, I don't know if you figured this out from the name, is that they're short and they're stacked, i.e. these are women with adult features who are short. They are not children with baby fat and underdeveloped breasts, right? They are not half the size of an adult man. And the problem with him saying that he wants to be the horse, that he fantasizes about being the horse in these depictions, is that the horses in these depictions are molesting underage girls. Child. I don't know what this says about Vaush's psychology. The nature of the medium is that there are ways in which these do not depict actual human bodies and actual humans and actual human contexts, and so it's conceivable that it is a different impulse which drives him to consume this content versus actual CP. But nonetheless, it's bad. It's really bad. Partially because his previous condemnations of people on the right and people who consume, frankly, much less suspect content demonstrates that he knows exactly how bad these look. And it's inconceivable that he had this material by accident. It's inconceivable he mistook them for adults, which is what he needs to conceive them as. He needs to look at these images and think those are grown-ups for this to be okay. I don't know. Maybe those new glasses of his are just really, really bad, but I don't buy it. I don't think that's plausible. His response has been to try and cast aspersions on the people who are pointing at this and saying, "Hey, this looks really bad, dude. What's going on here? You've attacked people for much less in the past," by which whether or not that was correct to do. We know that this isn't okay. We also know that if you hadn't been caught, you would be saying the exact same thing. So this looks like
6 heads tall, which is 14, I think. Wait, who the uses that measurement? Dude's been reading too many fantasy novels. Ah, yes, 13 stone and 6 heads tall. I get no frame of reference from 6 heads tall. It's so early in the stream for you to look this defeated and disgusted. Listen, there were 8 comments I wanted to make immediately about Sunday's Sunday's appearance, but I just decided that it wasn't worth it.
It's like you're very disingenuous, and furthermore, this was a to be sorted folder, which tells us a couple of things. It tells us potentially that these are all very recently added, so they're fresh.
What do you mean 6 to 14? Is that 6 heads is 14 years old, or does that mean that 6 heads tall means that you're between the ages of 6 and 14? What does it mean? Does it literally mean like the size years? That's too big of an age range. It's a useless metric to use then. That is a useless metric to use. Oh, they were 6 heads tall. Okay. I'm supposed to get there somewhere between a first grader and a 9th grader in age? That's what I'm supposed to get from that? Oh, it's an artist reference for proportions? Okay. I've never heard that before in my entire life.
Fresh in your memory. But secondly, this is not where all of your stuff ends up. Like, sorry, this is where all of your stuff ends up at some point. This looks like a cross section of the rest of your material. I think we're licensed to serve and for that. What else have you got on there? You know. Long story short, Vaush is optically toxic to progressive.
No, I mean, I believe if it's just like an artist term, then I'll believe it because like I have no, drawing like the visual arts, I guess, is that what we would call those? Like putting anything onto paper is one of the only kinds of artistic areas that I have zero ability in. Nothing at all. I can't draw for shit, dude. I am just incapable of taking an image in my head and putting onto a paper. I can sing, I can play instruments. I've been in theater. I was a theater, like I was a vocal performance major my first year in college, and then I was trying to do like operas and musical theater and shit like that. So like I can do all of that shit, but when it comes to drawing, there's nothing there, dude. I tried. I had to take a forced art class in college, and I did every assignment, and I got a C. Okay, it was one of the only classes in my entire life from kindergarten into my collegiate career that I ever did every assignment, and I got a C. So yeah, I cannot draw. So I don't know any terminology. I'll take your word for it, man. Short stack goblin tits is my personal favorite art term. Yeah, Vaush really knows how to inform us on the arts, doesn't he?
Progressive politics right now. Even leaving aside the morality of all of this, even leaving aside the fact that he's allowed multiple people in his orbit to just destroy their reputations over the last couple of days, by not manning up and just going on H3 and standing up for himself, even leaving all of that aside, you don't want this associated with progressive politics. You don't want this stuff to be a thing that people can just draw on and say, yeah, look, this is what these guys are like. This is what these guys are all about. Yeah, they talk a big game about, like, they care about children, they care about they're horrified at all of these but they fantasize about molesting children in the background. That's the read. That's what it's going to be. And what Vaush also did was he claimed that, he argued that it's an election year. Biden needs to get in. So we need to not be infighting right now. We need to support each other. All hands on deck, I believe was the quote. Yeah, no.
One thing that's always very interesting to me is what images Sunday decides to have playing on in the background. Like, is this like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at a library? Like,
the Democrats do not need Vaush, but Vaush can absolutely be used against the Democrats now. All hands on deck. Like putting our best foot forward to get progressive policies in means Vaush stepping back. It means Vaush being swiftly and roundly condemned by as many people as possible. A, because he wouldn't just remove himself by himself. That would be the respectable thing. But B, because that Band-Aid is coming off. It's coming off quickly or slowly.
Wait, is Sunday saying that Vaush needs to stop streaming? Wait, how much does he front load this video? 20 minutes before he even starts watching the video, dude? So he definitely doesn't watch all of it. Should we just like skip to his closing statements? I don't know. I'm not watching this whole video.
Those are the choices. And so, like a week later, how many days has it been?
Can I offer a visual representation of Vaush's career this week?
We need to purge the toxicity within. See, here's the issue. Here's the problem, okay? The problem is that I am an exceptional person, and I have an exceptional community full of exceptional people. I think we're pretty great, really. And in spite of that, I feel like so much
Man, the visualization of the child soldiers while he's talking about this. It's
pledge was great, but I think we
I
can
wanted
do
to
better.
draw horses
Okay?
better. Hey, you know what?
I think it's time to begin.
I don't think Vaush cares if you don't include the full anatomically correct version of the horse. Okay.
The fortress arc. All right? For too long we've been fighting in the open field. Okay? For too long we've been battling out. All right? No trenches, no fortifications. We've just been out there in the fields and the forests, okay? It's time. All right? It's time to build the tower.
2 years later.
So stupid. Okay. There's probably a better way to edit that one. Okay.
3 giant streams later,
Delete it.
you've got Keffels and Tipster being dragged through the dirt. It's their own damn fault. I don't feel sorry.
Oh yeah, can someone link me the Keffels screenshots, please? The Keffels logs that got leaked or whatever the please, because I got to skim through all of them. Also, we're not going to watch the entire Vaush video because that one also is an hour and 3/4 long. Not doing it. All right. I listened to most, if not all of it earlier, and I'll give my thoughts in a minute. All right. I just want to see what he's going to say before and after.
You've got how many people in his audience? Just getting into these. There's a, I don't know if it was serious, but there was a Reddit post about somebody like having actual marital trouble because of one partner's attachment to Vaush in the wake of all this. Like, this isn't good.
Oh yeah, I also saw that. I wish I just had those things loaded up because there's been so many funny memes, as a result of all this dumb bullshit. Okay, 1 second. Vaush drama is ruining my marriage. Oh no! Oh no! It was deleted. There's gotta be. I was hoping that there would be like a Twitter link. Damn it. That shit was so funny. Just like a wife and her husband who watch H3H3, not even Vaush fans, but the husband was sitting there upset because of all of the missed context that Ethan was not showing, dude. Deleted, just like their marriage. Yeah, no, seriously. Like, he won't sit down and watch the H3H3 podcast anymore with his wife, and he gets mad at her when she starts insulting Vaush, even though he's not a Vaush fan. That feels like this guy is into Lolly, and he doesn't want anyone to think that being into Lolly makes you at least pedophile adjacent, okay? It's hard to swallow all this horse stick content. Bro, you know what? That's what happens every time Vaush gets into big dramas, okay? It's hard to swallow. Much like the giant, veiny, throbbing cocks that he exclusively looks at in his porn, I guess. 11 minutes 50 for Keffel screenshot. Sunday brings him up. Okay, well, we're almost there.
And so now we come to this Drek. And like, for the record, I talked to him a few days ago, like about a week ago. Before my first coverage of all this. It might have been a bit more than a week ago. But I flat out said, like, look, you got exactly one play here, okay? And this is all with the caveat that this is only if it's true that in any conceivable way you can misrepresent it. If any conceivable way there's a spin on this, where there's a read on this that's true, that you know is true, in which there's something less bad here. You need to beg to go back onto H3, and you need to make your case yourself. That's the only way through here, because this is not it. A context video. There's no context that justifies this. He had that material on his computer. He requires us to believe that he is astonishingly stupid and blind in order to think that he both knew and didn't know what was specifically in those images that he saved on his work computer. Like, here's the tree of the depravity here, okay? So we start at the top. We have an inclination to a combination bestiality and underage pornography, okay? That should have been addressed psychologically early on. Second, we have him seeking out this material, okay? That should have been addressed early on. We have him consuming and saving this material onto his work computer. That's an incredible danger, not just to him, but to everybody attached to him, as we've seen. And then afterwards, once he accidentally reveals this on stream, he doesn't immediately step back, immediately apologize, immediately explain how, yeah, sorry, look, I know it was hypocritical. I knew this stuff was bad, and I kind of let myself slide into using it.
The thing that Sunday is missing here is that there is, like, yeah, like, you should probably, if you're consuming, like, creature porn, okay, you should probably address that psychologically. You should probably look into yourself a little bit deeply, right? You should probably, psychoanalyze yourself. Why is it that I am looking at short stack goblins? Why is it that I love watching horsecock being rammed into very small anime girls? Why is it that I like that? You should look at yourself in the mirror, in the eyes, and really look deep into what is going on behind those eyes, if that's what you're doing with your time. Sidebar. The amount of people who are unironically defending jerking it to the most depraved shit. Like, I understand, like, the idea behind, like, not kink shaming people. I understand the idea behind it, right? I am now unironically full send in support of kink shaming people. I've done like I am gonna kink shame you, bro. Like, I've done it as a meme, right? Because I really don't care what people's kinks or what they jerk it to, unless it's actual like CP, right? I usually don't care. But like, now I actually think that we need to, not because people are going to jerk it to it and we should try to keep them from jerking to it, because we're never going to, these kinds of people, they're never gonna stop, okay? But we can at least get them to shut the up about it in public, okay? That's all I want. That's all I want. I was in Chud Logic's Discord. I was in the spicy chat, and Mindwaves and like 2 other people got so offended because I said, if you watch orc, goblin, bugbear, troll, horse, lolicon, etc., creature porn of any kind, you should be hung by the neck until dead. I said it as a joke. And they got so offended and tried to debate bro me for hours. What's wrong with cricket porn? Probably just like all the positions that you get into with them, right? Like, that's what's so difficult with cricket porn. They have so many legs. Like, which ones are they supposed? No, but like, I had to stop myself at the very beginning of that debate, that argument that I had in that Discord, because I had just taken 2 edibles. I was blasted, brother. I was swimming, okay? I was swimming, laying down in one spot. Felt like I was underwater. And these are trying to ask me what the moral, what was the immoral thing about jerking it to orcs. And I had to tell myself, you know what? I just think it's gross. Personally, for me, I think that if you're looking at big orc pussy or orc cock doing shit to someone else, I think you're a little bit of a freak and you should keep it to yourself. All right? We should kink shame people into keeping their kinks private. The world was a better place when I didn't know that people were seeking this shit out. Incest Debate 2.0, it's mind-boggling. I know I've been saying that a lot recently, but like, as again, like, we're either nearing a point in my streaming career where I just get so not disgusted and not freaked out, but somewhere in that realm. I'm lacking the language for it, but like, I'm somewhere in that realm of just like looking at people like, why can't you just be normal? We're reaching a point where either I get so weirded out by the way that people interact with each other, where I either stop streaming or just like stop interacting with all communities and we just like vibe here and I play video games until I have 1 viewer, or, you know, until being a normal goddamn person becomes popular again. All right. Those are the 2 diverging paths of this channel as it stands right now. And I just want to, I'm hoping for this way, right? I'm hoping that everybody starts thinking, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to be normal. And I'm not going to argue about whether or not I should, like Tom, right, debate women in the club about whether or not I'm a creep, or 2, argue about creature porn. Once we get people to a baseline level of normalcy, I think that the world will be a better place. Anyways,
I think what I've said about it in the past obtains, but obviously I've been careless or whatever. I'm going to take a step back from this because it's an election year, all hands on deck, and I don't want to burden other progressives with this. Didn't do that. Instead, he tried to defend himself. He tried to call everybody who was pointing this out dishonest, and then he went silent for days while other people jumped in to defend him. And I'm going to show you something, okay? This kind of sickened me a little bit. This is Keffel's turning on Vaush, so I don't know who this person is. Extreme Watch.
Oh, insect. True. Insect debate.
Fuck Vaush. He deserves far more criticism for all of this.
Oh, hold on. Let's slow it down so we can actually read these, because I only skimmed the Keffels. The Keffels. Bro, can I also say, like, on one hand, for all the people that were defending Vaush, because if we look at the best case scenario, or the like most charitable, and this is where I'm at with my criticism of Vaush, right? The most charitable thing that you can get from his response video, and if you've just consumed his content at all over the past couple of years, like, you know why he brought up the pedophile, argument for, like, when talking about child slavery and then comparing it to child assault, right? You understand why he's doing that. He's doing it to be ultra edgy and provoke people to come in to debate him and all of this shit. It was just really stupid because it made him look like a pedophile. But you understand where he's coming from. I don't think that Vaush is actually a pedophile, right? And I think that the way that he responded to everything in his video, I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a response it was. I would say it was a solid 5, right? It didn't help him much. It didn't hurt him much. Maybe a 6 out of 10, right? So if you're being ultra charitable to him, you understand what he was trying to do at the time. He's probably not a pedophile, right? But the worst thing out of everything was having all those things and then also downloading Lolicon onto his computer. And because he downloaded Lolicon onto his computer, everyone is definitely going to think he's a pedophile now, and all of those clips are going to make him look way worse, right? I almost feel bad for Keffels. I almost feel bad for Tipster. Granted, I haven't seen any of their video coverage over any of this because I value my time. And I have a million better things to do with my time than watch, 18 different branches of a drama where I'm watching the same iteration of a video, but with like 19 different people's take on it, right? So I have more time, more time that I could devote to this, but I'm not going to because, I could be jerking it to adult women at that time. I could be, finishing up some, college work. I could be, cooking myself some good food or playing with my cats or spending time with my real life girlfriend or something like that, right? I could be doing much better things with my time. But the thing I'm trying to say is I almost feel bad for them, but also at what point do these people look at what Vaush is arguing about? What point do they look at the attacks against him and decide, you know what, I'm going to jump into the fray with this. I'm going to argue whether Vaush is or isn't a pedophile. And at what point do they realize that they're never going to come out on top on that one? At what point do you finally realize I'm just never going to come out on top? It is only a losing battle arguing this. It is only a losing battle fighting about this. I guess Keffels has found that point. And it wasn't because of arguing about pedophilia or lolicon or anything like that. It was because she herself got harassed, because she made herself look like a pedophile. And then she has all of the stuff with Catboy Ranch that happened, right? So she really has to, you know, kind of like buckle down and ride out the wave of hate, you know? Keffels and Tipster were the SpongeBob meme where they burned down the town and thought they saved it. True.
I don't think he's a pedophile, but he is so goddamn reckless. I am not sleeping. I've had panic attacks over this. Defending him has resulted in all the 2022 Kiwi Farms misinfo resurfacing. That's true. And then this person, Dick Thulu, says, this is the correct take. I'm very sorry you're going through this bullshit again. And Keffels replies, it's his fault. He's so careless because he didn't consider how many communities are close to his. He hurt me and a lot of people by literally being a weirdo. Go watch porn, OJ, I guess on your phone, Arsler, jerking off at your work computer. Like, yeah. And because of Vaush, I just burned the last bridge I had.
Of all things, Sunday will repeat transphobic slurs when reading people's DMs, which is one of the 3 possible things that got me permabanned from Twitch, was watching his video where he was reading DMs with transphobic slurs in them. But he won't say, really? Sunday doesn't use the R slur? Okay. We call it the R slur now?
It's his fault. He's so careless because he didn't consider how many communities are close to his. He hurt me and a lot of people by literally being a weirdo. Go. Sunday
would probably read the N-word. He has read the N-word in a debate with me, I think. I'm pretty sure one of our 2 conversations, he said the N-word.
Go watch porn, OJ, I guess on your phone, Arsler, jerking off at your work computer. Like, yeah. And because of Vaush, I just burned the last bridge I had to a mainstream.
Oh, that's right. He was quoting MLK. That's right. He was quoting MLK, because so that makes it fine. Okay.
I think that's referring to Tipster. Apparently they're not following each other anymore. So it's bad. It's looking really bad right now.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I wasn't really sold on this idea earlier, you know, like a week ago when most of the stuff started happening, because every time pedophilia accusations get levied at Vaush, nothing happens to him. There's never any consequences for what he says or what he does, literally ever. So I didn't think anything bad was going to actually happen to him. But now this, I feel like someone sent a screen cap. Social Blade. Someone said that people were unsubbing from him like crazy. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ, dude. Was it you that told me that? Yeah, Jesus Christ. 2K, 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 1K, 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 1K. Look at Keffels. Is it her live channel or is it her? Okay. What is her other channel called? Keffels Live. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it's all one word. Let's see. She hasn't had that much like impact to hers. Oh, well, maybe it has hurt her a little bit here. If it was, you know, 2,700 subscribers in January of 24, and then this month we only got 200 subscribers. Jesus Christ. That's kind of brutal, actually. Jesus Christ. Okay. What was I about to say? Wait, he said something.
And because of Vaush, I just burned the last bridge I had to a mainstream creator. I think that's referring to Tipster. Apparently they're not following each other anymore. So it's bad.
Okay, whether it hurt her or not, both says a lot about her group. True. Kind of true. But I guess the Mudahar, I don't remember what his YouTube channel name is. I know his face and I know who he is because I've seen videos of his, but I'm not like in that community, and I'm not interested in the same things as that community as most of the time, but he's evidently going to make a big video on her. I would be surprised if what is the guy that has the long straight black hair? He's super skinny, he has a deep ass voice, gamer on Twitch, does anybody know who I'm talking about? Moist Critical. Yes, thank you. Wait, another old white guy covering Destiny, JS2K, B Sunday, Wick, Resi, yeah, all the same. You're goddamn right, Addy Pupils, Wheat Waffles. You're very true. Also, who are you calling old? Bitch. Okay. No, I'm talking about critical. It's moist critical. Go away. Has he made a video on Vaush yet? Let's see here. Debate brain. Does that mean Vaush?
There's a genre of content that I've made for quite a while, kind of childish, aggressive outburst over nothing directed at the employees is completely uncalled for. But
some commentary have? Yeah, I think that like it's not going to be too long before this gets to the point where like people like Moist Critical, who's getting, you know, 1 million views plus on all of his videos, it seems. It's only a matter of time before Penguin Zero, all right, makes a video on him. And then it's just like, that's going to be his legacy forever. Vaush has no upward growth potential, I don't think, at least for the foreseeable future. And when I say foreseeable future, I mean like 1.5 years plus. Nuxanor? Let me see here. Copy. Nux Taku? Yeah, okay, you guys are saying a whole bunch of people I've literally never heard of in my entire life, okay? He was called a Nazi by him? Oh, who hasn't been called a Nazi by Vaush, all right? I've been called a Nazi by Vaush, okay? Horses and children. Oh, he's a VTuber? Of course, that's why you were suggesting him. Gas. Okay, anyway, let's finish at least the pre and post show here.
It's looking really bad right now. Like, Keffels demonstrated extremely poor judgment by jumping in to defend Vaush for this. There were other ones that were actually pretty bad as well. Let me see if I can't find them. I don't really want to go after Keffels here, though. I don't want to, because my general impression of Keffels here is that this was one case. This was weirdly, I think this was the only case I can think of where she wasn't doing this for as long as she did out of self-interest. I think she did want to defend a friend here. I think she probably had mixed motives. I think she absolutely wanted to be on H3. She requested that appearance earlier. She deleted her earlier tweets defending Vaush as well, so she was definitely uneasy about it. But I think there was definitely an element there where it's like, you know, this is a person who's supported me a lot in the past. I want to make sure he's treated fairly. I don't want to be, but you know, she knew better. And Keffels being Keffels, she'll never say this publicly, but she effectively did, because Keffels being Keffels, she doesn't know how to lock anything down. So yeah, days later, this is the same day, by the way. So she said this the day this came out. So good timing, Ian. So days later, we have this. As of 3 hours ago, we have the context video. Let's talk a little bit about context here, okay? Remember, the instigating factor for...
Okay, I'm not gonna, like, we'll just skip to where he starts talking about the, or he gives his final thoughts on everything. When I see Vaush stop moving for the entire time. Oh no, he keeps on watching him the entire time. We don't have to watch a post thing. All right, cool. He's friends with Muda and Mama Max before the betrayal. Oof. Anyways, okay, gotcha. Do we just do the Vaush video then? Wait, hold on. Because it came up in the suggested, okay? Based music video. Anyways, Vaush, the context video.
So this is a video I probably should have made a long time ago. There are two main reasons why I haven't. For one, everything we're about...
Well, we're going to watch, I think up to this point, because I think that if Vaush had just done this part of the video and then cut out a lot of this stuff, the Discord screenshots, right? Why are you offering this up to people? I've been streaming for 4 years. Right? Does he attempt to explain the pop EPS? No. And you know what, guys? I had never read the Poppy logs. I had never watched the Destiny VOD reviewing the Poppy stuff before. You should go watch it. You should go watch that. That's some funny shit, okay? No, J-Stalk has re-uploaded it, okay? That's how I just watched it. Hey, bros, it should have been over for him there. That was crazy. That was crazy. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she said that a long time ago, she had read the logs because they had come up on Twitter, right? And she was just like, she wasn't that fazed by them. She said that they were bad, but she wasn't fazed by them because she said that's just how it is being a woman on the internet. Hey, bros, if you've ever done anything, even approximating, even a quarter, no, not even 10%, 5% of what Vaush was saying in those messages, you should immediately delete all of your accounts and live an ascetic life on the mountains, devoid of all earthly pleasures, in fear that anyone will ever leak those things, in fear that anyone will ever know that you are that down bad and cringe and aggressive about it. I was blown the f away listening to those logs. I cannot fathom being in such a down bad state where I'm going to attack someone to try and get them to send me nudes. It is crazy. You're telling me it's bad to tell a woman who asked you to stop messaging her that you're going to prolapse her anus and like continuously like threaten to send dick pics, yeah? And then like sending pictures and pretending that it's your cock when it's really your leg, yeah? Trying to get them to send nudes in response to multiple people? Dude, that shit's crazy. Progressive Victory didn't distance themselves from him, and some Progressive Victory people are defending him like Lonerbox and Xanderpedo. Let me see what Lonerbox said, okay? Because I think Lonerbox is too reasonable to have a take that's that different than mine. Because again, I don't think Vaush is a pedophile, right? I think he's a weird degenerate that is way too open with his gross kinks and has come to bite him back in the ass when you couple that not only with just like the fact that it's gross and weird, you know, horse porn, but also the fact that it's, you know, paired with all these horrible clips from when he was the edgiest debate bro, or that was like his niche. He was trying to be the edgiest debate bro. Zan did say he wouldn't comment. Wait, does anybody have the clip of Zan saying that he wouldn't comment on it? Because I thought that shit was funny. I'm just saying sometimes you can have such negative riz that you can grow a gigantic audience through pseudo-politics. True. I mean, in at least one case, that is true. It's funny how every year I get to ask, aren't you glad I made sure our server was safe for work? Yes. Like, I didn't argue with you on that one. I don't think that I ever wanted one. I think that there was one point where I felt like there were several people that were pressuring me to make the Discord server to have at least one adult section. But after seeing what happened to like Chud Logic, after seeing what happened to like 4 other streamers around that time, I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. It's go goon in someone else's Discord, okay? Go crank your hog there. This is not a hog cranking Discord, okay? This is where people can like chill and hang out, or more often than not, just like viciously attack each other. Jesus Christ, you guys are demons for attacking each other. I opened up my Discord earlier today. It was just you guys hardcore attacking each other. Just at a fight after 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 fight. Okay? You guys need to chill out. Kumbaya a little bit, okay?
So this is a video I probably should have made a long time ago.
They don't know about
There
the
are
secret
two
Discord channel. All the secret Discord channels that we have are gonna be the where is it? Is under nope. Where is it? Where all the hidden the archives. All of these. We gotta get rid of all of the we gotta get rid of the memes channel, the food channel, selfies. I think we had to get rid of selfies because people were being shitty to each other, but I don't remember. Debate request, I hate VGG. Oh man, wait, hold on. What was I hate VGG? Oh, it's just people coping about how much they hate Vaush. Okay, who would have guessed that? Anyways, let's watch this video, guys, okay? If we didn't, no one would post. True. Dead. Yeah, kumbaya. Yeah, dead Discord, dead Discord, whatever.
Main reasons why I haven't. For one, everything we're about to talk about has been discussed over and over and over again on this channel, in live streams and in videos. Some of it has been discussed to death. Over engagement with the topic has caused it to have a disproportionate influence both on my community and on the way people outside of my community perceive me and my channel. The second main reason I've been hesitant to make this video is because experience has taught me that, generally speaking, if folks want to hate you or distrust you or whatever else, it's pretty difficult to convince them otherwise. Sometimes, if you're unpopular enough, even if you've got a good point to make, just the attempt to change people's minds can come across as kind of self-incriminating. You actually ground them further in the positions they already have. You know, it's one of those deals where the people who need to hear it won't listen, and the people who will listen don't need to hear it again. Let's get right to it then. Let's not waste time. What am I actually talking about? Well,
We gotta speed him up. Holy, he's
the people
unlistenable
who
at
just
normal
innocently
speed.
watch me for my political content and don't engage in any broader community drama. Some folks online have called me a pedophile. Now, this in and of itself isn't actually that noteworthy. With the political climate being what it is, folks are getting accused of being pedophiles on Twitter left and right. It's pretty common. But some people have called me this way more insistently and a lot louder. So why? Remember how I said self-defense can come across as kind of incriminating even if it's accurate or well-intentioned? Yeah, even though I've gone over all this before,
It is essentially Dwarf Fortress Light, yes.
on stream or in videos, I wasn't exactly jumping at the bit to make a why I'm not a pedophile video. That's not... It's a rough subject, is what I'm saying. You know, that's one of the reasons why it's so effective as a smear, of course. It's just an incredibly difficult subject to engage with. So let's not waste any more time. We've got a lot to go through. What then is this video about? What do I have to say, and why do I want to say it? What are my goals in making the video? Well, the gist of it is this. When people accuse me of being a pedophile, they usually do so while presenting pieces of evidence, often clips from my live streams, that make me look bad. While I do think that a lot of the claims and pieces of so-called evidence used against me range from being uncharitable to outright dishonest, the fact remains that I have said some incredibly stupid shit on this channel, especially really early on, like right when I started streaming, and I don't fault anyone for seeing clips from that and being suspect of me. You know, I wasn't doing myself any favors, I'll say that much. For a lot of them, such as the ones where I'm making a point that is overall good and like uncontroversial, but I do a bad job of making it, there's nothing for me to really like debunk, you know? It's not a takedown. It's more a matter of charity. You know, I have to go and look at these clips and explain, what do they mean? You know, what was I thinking? What was I saying? Is this clip like so dishonestly cut that, you know, no reasonable person would interpret it as looking bad if seeing the full context? Or was I saying really stupid shit and I'm going to have to like work to explain what my thought process was at the time? And past that point, it's up to other people to either believe my charitable explanations or believe significantly less charitable ones. You know, that's up to them. In addition to some of the legitimately really stupid shit I've said, I'll also cover some of the more bullshit accusations because I don't know, they're transparently bullshit, a lot of them. I feel like you would have to already dislike me to read anything from them. But, you know, a lot of it is that, so I need to sort of point that out too. So as far as I can see, there are 4 groups of people that I'm addressing here, more or less. The first group is my core audience, the people who have seen me address this and provide context for this and deal with this bullshit a million times. For a lot of them, all of this is a repeat. The second group of people is people who just hate me. I really don't know if there's much I can do to get across to those guys. I would like to. I really do think a lot of the hate is misguided, but ultimately that's up to them, right? I'm not magic. The third group is the massive, disaffected, disengaged, entertainment-hungry drama vultures who are just here because they think it's fun to watch people squirm. I see
Drama
you.
vultures,
Well, welcome.
guys.
A lot of this really has been like thoroughly addressed before, though, so I don't plan on doing much squirming, but there will be lots of self-debasement. So to you and to the people who just hate me, if you want to see self-debasement from me, there will be that. So you can look forward to that, I guess. Yeah, and I know that even making a video like this can come across as pretty damning, just innately, but I really do hope that you take it seriously and try to be charitable, if for no reason other than because it is a pretty serious topic. And last, the fourth and maybe the smallest group of people watching this video are people who are genuinely neutral, or maybe coming in with that fair mind to see what all the drama's about. Or maybe they're from the normie side of my audience. You know, they don't engage with the drama and the community stuff that much. I don't know. This will probably be a weird one for them, but nonetheless, well,
it'll be a weird one for everyone,
wide
Vaush.
range of people as audiences go, but I'll do my best to explain things and go through all the drama in a way that's clear and straightforward, but also doesn't drag on too long. Now, without further ado, let's get to the content. We'll start with the absolute worst of it, the monstrously stupid argument that I made way back when I first started streaming that has since haunted me and irreparably tarnished my reputation. Now, this clip is the one that I see cited most often when people are accusing me of being a pedophile. That's not even a little surprising to me, though. It sounds pretty bad. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography. Like I said, pretty bad. This clip is from right after I started streaming, so a significant portion of my career as a live streamer has been spent providing context for the clip over and over to many people and many audiences. I've addressed it so many times that it's turned into like a kind of running joke in my community, like a that I'm cursed to keep walking into over and over. It hits me in the head. I often see people outside of my community, people who have seen this clip but not seen me address it, mock the idea that any context that I or anyone else could provide could possibly explain away something that sounds that bad. When they see me or my fans say that this or any other clip has been taken out of context, it comes across to them as an effort to shoo away legitimate suspicion, you know, chastising people for having an opinion on something that looks bad. Like, you see a clip that looks bad of me, and then I or a fan of mine comes in and we're like, no, you know, you need to familiarize yourself with like 50 hours of stream lore before you can have an opinion on that. I have seen people weaponize calls for context in that way, so I don't fault others for being like kind of suspicious of that or not taking it very seriously. Some people are just going to tune out right there. Now, don't get me wrong, the clip is bad. It's rhetorically bad, it's logically bad, it's obviously optically bad, and the broader argument that it's pulled from are bad in all of those ways too. But as for what the clip and the argument that it's pulled from say about me, I would like to make the case, if I may, that it does implicate me, but not as a pedophile, rather as a idiot, debate bro, brain-poisoned jackass, because I took a perfectly fine argument. I think that, you know, when I explain it, the argument itself will make perfect sense at least, and I ruined it with edgy, contrarian, devil's advocate nonsense. So let me explain.
So what Vaush just said right there is what this entire video should have been. Hey guys, this is an indictment of me. This video right here is a legitimate, yes, indictment of me, not because, hey guys, I'm a pedophile, but because I'm a, like, that should have been the entire video, and he should have just, every one of the clips, explained what his thought process was, explained why he made the argument, because a lot of the arguments, yeah, do I understand them? Yeah, I understand them. It's just that, holy shit, you can't think that nobody's going to be upset, or nobody's not going to get upset about this. That should have been this entire thing. No yapping, okay? Don't yap too much. If you yap too much, people are going to think that you're obfuscating. No yapping.
I just started live streaming, and I was far more argumentative and belligerent and arrogant then than I am now, if you can believe that. Over the background of my mediocre Dead Cells gameplay, an argument with chat on the subject of foreign labor and unethical production was getting increasingly heated. Just in case anyone watching doesn't know, many of the products that we buy from American companies on American store shelves are produced through supply chains that take advantage of what we can consider unethical business practices, you know, like bad workers' rights.
Sorry.
Often this takes the form of sweatshop labor, a practice near ubiquitous, for example, in the garment industry, where sewing work is difficult to fully automate. This isn't just a foreign problem, though. There are garment sweatshops where workers make less than $2 an hour, operating right now in Los Angeles, as an example. It's a broad issue. But American companies profit from even worse abuses. The mining of cobalt and the harvesting of chocolate and palm oil. Those are three practices that are especially notorious for their use of child labor, frequently child slavery, frankly. You know, in practice, often just child slavery. American companies profit enormously from this because these, you know, abusive work conditions, it keeps the cost of harvesting materials, of acquiring raw product relatively low. And as a consequence of this, the suffering of children is built into the fabric of our economy, of exploited workers broadly, to be sure. But like I said, it's a widespread problem. I believed that in a just world, the American government would set a global standard for labor rights by barring companies from selling their products in the United States if they or other companies they bought their product from fell below a certain minimum standard for labor rights. I still think that would be great, by the way, as complicated as it would be to implement and as unlikely as it is to happen. It's a doable thing, you know? That's not like there's precedent for that kind of action. It would make the world a better place. So anyway, there I was, belligerent, angry from arguing with chat. However much of a debate bro I'm known for being today, I swear to God, I was so much worse back then. I wanted to construct an argument that would effectively and succinctly convey the severity of the problem, how intertwined human suffering is with the regular products that we buy and use every day. Shock value was essential because I needed to prove how edgy and daring I was. And speaking of shock value, an example already exists of something so inextricably tied up in human suffering.
This guy's thinking about the optics of his pedo allegations. There is no hope for these people. But, okay, we're going to be fair and balanced here, okay? Hashtag fair and balanced. The fair and balanced thing to say here is, hey, he is owning up to the fact that it was like full mode for him to do that, right? Like, it's not like he's sitting here saying like, yeah, this was a good argument and you guys are coping for believing otherwise. No. He's saying, hey, I am the here. I am the one who has done the stupid thing and tried to make an argument about, you know, ethical CP. I am the one who has put myself in this position. That is the only way that Vaush can have this, you know, be addressed. It's like the only way. I don't see another way that you can get away with it, right?
That both its production and possession are illegal.
I had to assert my edgy dominance in the topic. Yeah, like, I'll say it's stupid, and I've probably done something similar. I'm not sure if I've ever done anything quite that bad because I've always, you know, had in the back of my mind, you know, I want to have a life outside of streaming eventually, okay? And so I don't want to make horrible things. There's like one really, really, really bad clip of me out there where I was trying to explain the ethical CP thing to someone and someone clipped it, right? And it's like a streamable somewhere. But like, that's the only time that I think I've ever talked about this subject literally ever on stream. And it's for that reason, because there is no winning, right? And even as like a, you know, streamer who had only been doing it for 6 months, I could see that it was a losing battle every time. Every time.
Child abuse material. If we already know something that harmful should just be excised from society, couldn't we do the same for products that we know are made with child slavery at the very least? The parallel felt clear to me, and I wanted to really drive home the hypocrisy of the people arguing against me who said you were downplaying, I guess, the issue with the whole child slavery intertwined in our, you know, economy thing. So, in fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography. How's that for a hot fucking take? Now, to clarify on this take, as I feel it necessary to do so, we do not, in this country, typically criminalize people who have procured media or resources which were the product of abuse. It is not illegal to own necklaces that have diamonds or whatever, what are they called? Or yeah, blood diamonds. Yeah, all of our clothes produced by sweatshops, our computers with silicon and lithium mined from literal slaves. In our society, we have already deemed that people are not responsible for the mechanisms by which the media they consume and the content they engage with are produced. You like that argument? Ooh, you like that? You like that moral culpability? You're all worse than CP owners, and I am too. Do you like that? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Shit sucks, right? But if we accept that argument for slave labor, then we definitely have to accept it for child pornography. Yeah, there you go. My dumb goal here was to spark indignant outrage, to make people who downplay the immorality of unethical supply chains to reflect on the harm they were enabling through comparison, or for them to, you know, bluster and go, no, they're different. Child slavery is fine, actually, and look bad. You know, it was meant to be like an invective, like something like, it's punchy, it gets right through people. Obviously, it didn't work. The only person I succeeded in making look bad was me, and that wasn't one of the goals. So, yeah, no, pretty bad. Because I really want to make sure that I'm being clear with my thoughts here, because I don't like being misunderstood, and being misunderstood kind of feels like my job sometimes. Just in case the bad logic of my brilliant little devil's advocate it's not coming across, let me give you an example. Imagine that I was a vegan back when I started my channel, and I was angrily arguing with my audience about the hypocrisy of America making animal abuse a felony, but also allowing millions and millions and billions of animals to spend their whole
He
lives
should
in
have dressed
torturous
like a
captivity
jockey.
before being
Shut the
slaughtered
fuck
for
up.
meat.
That's so stupid.
I'm flustered, and I want to make a point. So I start saying that, hey, if we're all being morally consistent here, we wouldn't even have animal abuse laws, huh? Why protect animals at all, I would say? Since we're clearly so okay with them being tortured and killed en masse, why not be consistent and just do away with all animal abuse laws too, huh? Of course, in that example, I wouldn't really be arguing for the removal of animal abuse laws. I'd be pointing out an apparent hypocrisy in animal welfare norms with an abrasive devil's advocate. The point would be to get people to sort of like angrily confront my position or reflect on theirs. Likewise, in real life, 5 years ago, I wasn't actually arguing for the legalization of child abuse material. I was pointing out an apparent hypocrisy in child welfare norms and our allowance of materials produced through the harm of children in our stores, with an abrasive devil's advocate. Abrasive and bad. So bad. I have spent the past 5 years explaining it. And to be clear, it really is a bad argument.
But, a lot of guys in your position who are these kind of like philosophical pipes, they want to talk about the whole child porn thing and how it's just as bad as slave labor, I think was your argument.
Yeah, so that's one of the great philosophical debates of our time. Just can't keep it from
I don't know, what is it about smart guys that they feel like, I must rationalize child porn? Like, do you feel like it just, first of all, just for starters, that was heavily taken out of context, correct?
Oh yeah. Obviously it's gotten thrown through the dishwasher a bit, as internet arguments go. The basic idea of the argument, the fundamental, which is like, it's bad to participate in the consumption of any product, which as a necessary prerequisite for its production mandates the abuse of children. Everyone would agree with that, unless people are literally pro-child abuse, I guess, but most everyone would agree with that. People just don't like the direct comparisons because in my case, it wasn't the most accurate one, due to some like nitty-gritty detailed bits, and two, it's like deliberately provocative, right? And that's the problem. That comes up the same reason people make comparisons to Hitler during argument.
Does anybody even like Vaush? Tankies don't, libs don't, conservatives don't, because I don't think that tankies are the largest group of socialists out there. The largest group of socialists are people that aren't actually socialists. They are people that are pretty much just kind of like laissez-faire types. Does that make sense? They're like, just, why do, like, because I know who you are, you're going to like try and fight me on this, but this is just true. They're more libertarian socially. All right, they are social libertarians. And so that's why they like Vaush, because Vaush, as we can all see, is very into just ollie oxen free. Like anything goes, no rules, just right. If you want to jerk it to lolly hentai, then that's just fine with Vaush, right? I was about to say with me, but I don't want it to be clipped. So yeah, people do like Vaush, right? Like I have seen people, and I used to be a consumer of Vaush's content, right? But then I grew the up and I realized that this guy is kind of like a weird narcissistic insane person that does not need any more attention than he already has. Holy shit, it needs to stop, right? But yeah, like I recognized at a certain point, and it is probably partly to do with me, getting older and starting to recognize some like weirder things that he said. Maybe I'm becoming more conservative, like socially, or maybe I just see the negative impacts of some of the things that people like Vaush advocate for. I don't know exactly why it is that I've gone down this particular, ideological or political path or whatever. Why I believe any of the things that I believe, I can't answer that. But what I can answer is, yes, people do absolutely, unironically like Vaush.
It's like the most provocative thing you can get to. Like you jump right to
social media-ists. I like that. I might steal that from you at some point.
Like, well, how do I make a point about why X or Y about capitalism is bad? Cracks knuckles. Okay, I've got one.
Hold on. I just saw the chat right before that. In an unrelated note, the Epstein video game should be out now. There's an Epstein video game. Why? The way he talks is extremely manipulative. This is why I jumped off that pony ride. Yes, I jumped off of it in Sieg, Internet Gas, LQG Jack, if you're still watching. When was it that I like stopped liking Vaush? Was it like early 2022? When was the I think the last time that I sat and like watched a drama that Vaush got himself into and was like, okay, I can see I understand his point of view, and I don't think that people should be attacked. I feel like it was the drama where he started saying that everyone who's in monogamous relationships is just insecure, and they're too insecure to let their girlfriend get dicked down by somebody else, and that's the only reason why you would not have a polyamorous relationship. Late 2021, yeah. Like I started, learning about economics and stuff, and that pulled me out of like the socialism memes. But it was the other shit that really like solidified it for me. Like his community's reaction to some of my objectively correct takes,
For you, and even if you're bulletproof on how you phrase that argument, people are going to get mad at you. But I wasn't, and if you're not, people will get more mad at you.
And I have had to explain it so many times. The vegan gains debate, that's a solid F. Not only did I not make my arguments well, at one point I made my anti-child pornography argument so poorly that it got clipped out of context and people are using it as an argument that I support child pornography. My basic argument is that why is child pornography bad? Because to produce it, you have to hurt children. Because it hurts people to produce it. Yeah? Producing child porn requires harming a child. The argument I'm making is that it frustrates me that liberals recognize child pornography as bad. Great, nice, well done. But then they're really, really defensive of like global commodity production chains that involve child slave labor. Like we'll top that off like really, really, really.
Basically, the same time I stopped being a red-blooded Republican. Hey, listen, you transferred some of your conservatism to me, and I transferred some of my lib cuckiness to you. All right.
Readily, like, oh, well, there's no other choice. Oh, well, we don't have to care about that. Oh, yeah, dude, like, cobalt that's mined up is done by child slave. But, like, whatever, that's just how the economy goes. Oh, dude, whatever, like, we make computers, they look sick, bro. Like, don't think about it. So that was the argument that I was making originally.
I don't know, me personally, I would have tried to find another example.
Me too! Hey, me too, buddy.
The reasons for this argument being rhetorically and optically bad are pretty obvious, I'd say, but I wanted to explain why it's also logically bad. The parallel between child abuse material and commodities made with child labor is tenuous, mostly due to a huge gulf in personal moral culpability, right? I mean, hopefully that's obvious. It certainly wasn't to me back then. I still believe the presence of child labor in our supply chains is a massive issue, but, I've stopped making that point in such stupid, pointlessly abrasive ways. There's a sickness in the mind of the very specific kind of debate bro that I used to be, where you believe that if using the most inane, hyperbolic shock value arguments, it makes you seem smarter. I'm sorry. I can explain what I was thinking at the time, but I can't for the life of me understand what I was thinking, if that makes any sense. Yeah, all edge and no point, truly. Oh, and to be clear, I didn't make that.
I promise Sondsol will become a Matt Gaetz in a few years, hopefully without the trafficking for a friend part. Or the looking like the guy from, Matt Gaetz looks like this guy, but somehow more uncanny. And his aren't prosthetics. So, just saying, why can't Vaush just sound like a normal ass person? Listen, don't ask me. One second, let me find where the thing is. What was it they specifically just said? I was looking for the "we are number one" guy. I'm not answering any questions like that, Drazdy. And in fact, if you ask any other weird questions like that, you will be, once again, I should just permaban you now, but I'm lazy.
Inane, hyperbolic shock value arguments. It makes you seem smarter. I'm sorry. I can explain what I was thinking at the time, but I can't for the life of me understand what I was thinking, if that makes any sense. Yeah, all edge and no point, truly. Oh, and to be clear, I didn't make that argument just once. Remember, the whole rhetorical strategy was edgy, abrasive bullshit designed to bait arguments, and it worked. I mean, arguments were had. You're a live streamer, you have a hot take or you make an abrasive argument. Chat brings it up in the future. You argue about it again. I'm sure there are a million clips of that argument from different streams, but it's all the same damn thing. It's like taking 500 photos of me getting in a car accident and then saying it's 500 different car crashes. It's all the same stupid argument. Unfortunately, 5 years back, it took me a little while to catch on to how stupid and self-destructive my edgy argument was, safe within the bubble of my then tiny community, where the only eyes I had on me were the eyes of my, 100 or so committed fans or whatever back then. I wasn't really seeing any negative consequences from employing this rhetorical strategy. I mean, it would bait arguments from chat, of course, like I got those disagreements, but that was what I was looking for. So I didn't interpret that as a sign of the argument itself being flawed. It wasn't until I brought it up in a debate with Vegan Gains, a far larger YouTuber, that I realized how people outside of my community bubble perceive the argument.
Pedophiles, right, who buy child pornography,
Mm-hmm.
Would you say they should not be held responsible for doing that?
Yes.
Really? Even though they're directly supporting child.
Yeah, I think it's hypocritical. If I because I bought my computer and the silicon in it was
okay. He kind of loops over the same argument that he's defending for a good long time. Should we do the bad utilitarian argument? How long is it? 55 to 45, 10 minutes. Yeah, we'll do the bad utilitarian argument, because all of this is just him going over him saying, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. These are all the things that I've said against pedophilia. These are, I've been edgy debate bro, loser in the past, and I hate myself looking back at that person, blah, blah, blah. So we'll skip to the bad utilitarianism argument, because I think that he recognizes that he should never be cited as someone for any kind of moral argument, which I think is pretty finally a moment of self-awareness. The Mr. Girl strip club part is defensible. Yeah, but I just don't want to sit here and watch the whole hour and 41-minute video, right? We'll watch different segments. I'm not going to go over the Discord screenshots, but I will say, when he's going over the Discord screenshots, there are some in here that I have never, ever, ever, ever seen before. I have been streaming for four-ish years. I know an unfortunate amount of the deep lore of Twitch and YouTube politics. And when it comes to these screenshots, there are several in here I never saw. He is offering up more information that he didn't need to, which is insane to me. There is no reason why he had to include this segment in there at all. You know what? I don't even remember hearing the taxes folder. Maybe I missed that one. Okay, so we'll skip over the Discord screenshots and we'll see if the taxes folder thing is funny. And then we'll go to his final thoughts. And if we're bored, then we'll listen to the for my audience part. Trump compared himself to Navalny. Yeah, put that into the Discord. We'll go over that.
To be honest. But all right, enough with the clips that are easy for me to defend. Let's address the clip that I see second most often. It's probably my least favorite one, because it is so stupid and so unnecessary. And
bro, can you imagine if he did start a stream off with Mr. Girl music? Can you imagine the meltdown people would have, dude? Just for a second, just imagine in your head how simultaneously bad for him that would be, and also an actual Giga Chad moment. It would be so funny.
And the bad optics of it aren't even from the argument that I was trying to make. Here, enjoy the terrible clip.
Please, right now, uncuck your dumb shit libcuck SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I'm about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a relationship, and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible.
Man, look at how cool and logical I am, calling people libcucks for having the audacity to take issue with anything that I'm saying there. My IQ must be massive, the way I'm willing to, and this is the charitable take here, saw my own legs off at the knee, optically speaking. No points for guessing. This clip's from 2019, same as the child labor argument, so same era, same brain. Before I can explain what was going on here, we have to finish the point that I was making, because this is a really nasty clip.
It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sex.
We're all thinking of the same Mr. Girl song, right? I think that if Mr. Girl was less of a freak, okay? Because let's be honest, Mr. Girl's a little bit of a freak. If Mr. Girl was less of a freak, goddamn, that guy could have had an actual YouTube career making comedy songs. If he just had an ounce of self-awareness that hey, people are going to think I'm a pedo if I actually defend this stuff. The songs are funny if they're pure irony, but it doesn't feel like it's irony coming from Mr. Girl. All right. I know that Mr. Girl is a highly contentious person in Twitch politics, but I've never liked him. I don't understand why people have liked him so much. It is actually crazy to me. It will be something that I will never understand. Yeah, I'm sorry. I simply don't get it. I do not understand why people think that he's a. I understand thinking that he's an interesting person, but as a I don't know, as a streamer, that man is unbearable to watch, weird, and unnecessarily provocative. Like, I love some provocatism. Provocatism? What the fuck am I saying? I like me some provocative, funny memes. He set himself up for failure by not being able to keep his mask on. It's just insane.
Relationship, and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well. That is possible. However, categorically, we discourage those relationships because, as a rule, it is substantially more likely that enabling them would cause harm in society. That's the difference between act and rule utilitarianism. An act utilitarian would say, oh, this is an instance where it was good for the adult and the minor to have. That would make it a good action. But the rule utilitarian, which is what I am, would say, even though that individual outcome was good, the act was still bad because, in general, in a broader application, for adults and children to have sex with one another leads to horribly destructive outcomes. For that reason, it is an unethical act.
Look at that. Whoever cut this clip ended it right before I said, but really nasty work. And I clearly don't need the help making myself look terrible. So, all right. What's going on here? What point am I clearly failing to make? And why did I say any of that terrible shit? What I'm trying to explain, poorly, mind you, is the difference between act and rule utilitarianism. They're two different ways of understanding what's right and what's wrong. At least that's what I thought back then. To understand what I was thinking at the time, I'm going to have to explain this in the context of my past self's, like sophomoric Dunning-Kruger-esque understanding of utilitarianism. We have to enter the very tiny shoes of my brain back then. We have to step into the shoes of my brain back then. And back then, as I understood it, act utilitarians decide if an action is moral by assessing the outcomes of that action, right? So you throw a brick at a person, it hits them, it hurts them, that's a bad outcome. Okay, so don't throw bricks at people. And rule utilitarians do this while also considering the value of broader judgments or rules that might consider an action moral or immoral by default, based on a general judgment of the expected outcomes. So we have rules against throwing bricks at people, not because the outcomes are always bad. I mean, you could miss, for example, and not really do much of anything, but we still have laws against that because the expected outcome of throwing a brick at a person is bad, averaged out, and you want to prevent people from doing that thing generally rather than just like letting people hope that the individual outcome of a specific thrown brick might be good. Does that make sense? Well, again, none of this is a good understanding of utilitarianism, so I'm trying to explain how I thought about it. I know. You'll have to read up on the subject elsewhere. Don't get your normative ethics lessons from me, please God. So let me continue with the distinction.
Thing he said the entire time.
To keep with the theme of bricks, we would consider it morally wrong to toss cinder blocks off of a highway overpass. I think most people would agree
that's mining cobalt. True.
It's possible, however, incredibly unlikely, that doing so might actually end in having a positive outcome. Maybe the cinder block, it goes through the windshield and it smashes the face of a kidnapper and the car crashes and the kidnappee is able to escape to safety, right? I mean, that's a morally good outcome from the action, So the question is then, is an action morally wrong if its expected outcome is overwhelmingly likely to be bad, but it somehow, just through sheer chance, ends up not being bad? Is it morally wrong to drunkenly drive through the front doors of a school if the only person you hit is, by sheer coincidence, about to do a school shooting? No, I know. You have to understand these are the high IQ moral conundrums that only the smartest debate bro YouTubers can even hope to grapple with. At any rate, in the full clip, I'm clearly siding with the rule utilitarian argument here, that all of these actions would be immoral regardless of outcome, because categorically the harm is... We're engaging with my understanding at the time. I feel so bad. I know more about the subject now than I did then, so I feel like I'm re-explaining bad logic. But look, two things set me up to fail here. Well, one thing did, the thing being me, but I set myself up to fail in two ways. My aforementioned tendency to engage in pointlessly edgy contrarian, the normies won't like this one, bullshit hypotheticals, and an extremely, extremely broad definition of can have good outcomes. Yeah, I've already addressed this debate bro brain poison before, so hopefully it's recognizable here, those tendencies, in the same way that it was with the child labor argument. I'm shooting myself in the foot in the exact same way with the same personality gun. The reason I hate this clip, myself in this clip, most of all, is because this argument I was having with chat wasn't even about child abuse. It wasn't relevant. It was completely irrelevant to the point that I was making. It's just shock value nonsense. All I'm really doing is conveying an extremely intro to normative ethics understanding of consequentialism. If you were in intro to normative ethics class, you'd probably get yelled at by the professor for attempting anything even like this argument. But
true.
Leaving that aside, and because it's completely irrelevant, I can't even explain my thought process very well. It just looks terrible, even though in the full clip I'm explicitly stating that child-adult relationships are categorically wrong. It's a completely unforced error. I did this to myself. Also, with regards...
The story of Vaush's entire career is just unforced error after unforced error after unforced error, bro. Can we like just take a moment to like think of anything that wasn't an unforced error that led to like major drama for him. Like, think about like the fallout with ContraPoints. Whose fault was that? Whose error was that? It was all Vaush. He had to call J.K. Rowling a bitch. It was the morally correct thing to do, which I guess he's now admitting that you should never listen to him about morality, which is finally a based statement from Vaush, right? But he had to call J.K. Rowling a bitch, and then he had to say something about ContraPoints that was just unhinged, right? He had to say some crazy shit about Cat Black that was, hey guys, unhinged. He just set himself up for failure in every single one of his major dramas. Whose fault was that? Capitalism. True.
Can have good outcomes. This is like a fridge temp IQ element of arguing normative ethics. If you're willing to argue like a idiot, as I clearly am, literally anything can have a good outcome in some specific scenario. Murdering an innocent person. Well, what if someone put a gun to your head and said they murdered 2 innocent people if you didn't murder 1? Now murdering that person actually has a good outcome because with 2 possible paths, one of which 1 person dies, one of which 2 people die, you made the path where only 1 person dies. So you basically save the life of a person. Woo, there you go. Nothing's inherently wrong. Context. The asteroid hitting the planet would be bad. Well, what if it prevents it from hitting a bigger planet with more people? Child adult relations. Well, what if aliens threaten to blow up the whole planet, etc., etc. I know. It actually is that stupid. It wasn't even the point I was trying to make. It's just that, nothing is inherently wrong. It depends on the outcomes style of faux intellectualism was a pretty big feature of how I constructed arguments and made points back then. And, here's it combining with that tendency to reach for the edgiest possible subjects and comparisons. And it really me over. I know there are probably like hundreds of examples of me doing this, but with like murder or domestic abuse or any other just like edgy topic to like, oh, you normies in my chat, you think that anything is inherently wrong? Well, let me.
The cat thing wasn't that bad. It led to him falling out with ContraPoints, right? Wait, what is the...
One of the issues that we run into is we have 2 things that we run.
Oh, no. Is this about Vaush?
One of the issues that we run into is we have 2 things that we rely on the Democratic Party. One is urgency to just scare the crap out of everybody, which is effective, but it wears people down long term. Right? We say, this is the worst. Oh my God, everything's falling apart, right? Sky is falling. Very effective. People get really burned out. One of the issues that we run into is we have 2 things that we rely on the Democratic Party. One is urgency to just scare the crap out of everybody, which is
what's bad about that? It's kind of true, and both the Democrats and the Republican Party do that. Wait, what the is the Contra was wrong about that? I don't remember the entire thing, but I'm pretty sure Vaush did some like shit there. Was for seeking gas? Okay. But like, yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be about Vaush, but I don't see anything that crazy terrible with that one. Oh no, this is not going to be a good... Did it say that the mountains took up like 90% of the map before I clicked on this? Let's see if it does again.
Construct a hypothetical for you that you won't be able to grapple with. You see, because I'm smart, I know that actually, what if this thing happened? I really don't blame people for thinking less of me for that clip. It's just really bad. If nothing else, my hope, like this is the goal that I'm trying to convey. Don't judge me for any kind of like paraphilic interpolation of this. Judge me for being a idiot. That's what I want you to do. I'll expand it. Judge my audience back then for watching me. I shouldn't have gotten any viewers back then. I was so stupid. Unfortunately for me, my presence online dates back way farther than the creation of my channel, which means people interested in finding examples of me saying stupid shit have a pretty wide range of material to choose from. Before I had a channel or was even known as Vaush, I was a frequent and notorious shitposter in the community of a streamer called Destiny. I know, that's why I am the way I am. I had been in his community for a long time, really long, and I really enjoyed the edgy, irreverent, debate lord culture of his Discord server. So let's look at some of the stupid, edgy, irreverent shit I said 6 years ago there that people have since screenshotted out of context in the pursuit of calling me a pedophile. So this is a perfect example of...
Okay, we're skipping past the stupid screen caps that he brought up because it's not going to make him... I want to see what he says about the taxes folder. Here, one sec.
So after all that, now we finally arrive at this most recent drama, the incident that lit a fire.
Even though Trump kickstarted... hold on. Trump didn't kickstart the politics of hate, okay, perpetuated by Republicans, okay? That shit was extremely, extremely evident, at least since Obama got elected, okay? people really, like really did not like a black man winning. Okay.
Under Drama YouTube, and is, to my mind, the only thing I've done in the past 4 years that actually looks bad. It's pretty embarrassing, to say the least. So there I was, streaming a few weeks ago, browsing a men's...
Yeah, he messaged her aggressively on stream, mentioned her, not alcoholism, like drug issues and alcoholism, and then told his audience to harass Contra. Like, gas. Cap might have been in the wrong initially, but Vaush openly weaponized his community to harass ContraPoints. I remember that shit.
Fashion site. I wanted to look at an image more closely, so I right-clicked to open the image in a new window, but then accidentally instead clicked the Save As tab in the right-click drop-down menu.
Okay, this is the section that brought this from like a 7 out of 10. I think that I would say that the first, let's see, what, 25% of this? Maybe 20% of this? Yeah, the first 20% of this, probably, I would say like 8 out of 10. The entire video should have been this, right? It should have been him just saying, hey, I don't agree with like anything that I said back then. I'm a very different person. This is what I was trying to say. And while like I can put myself in that headspace and understand what I was trying to say, it is a stupid thing to argue, and I shouldn't have tried to argue it. It was just very stupid, and I was a very edgy debate lord, and that was the culture of the time. And while the argument I was trying to make was that it's all bad, I realized that when an outsider sees this clip, they're going to think that I'm a pedophile, and I have no defense for that. It was just me being on the internet, right? That should have been the entire thing, and it would have been an 8 out of 10 response video, right? This right here, right? Like everything from the vegan gains thing through all of this is just him like dragging on and kind of repeating the same thing. He didn't have to add in all of these extra things. He could have put all of those same clips together. He could have played just like the clip compilation, right? And just cut this down by like probably 40 minutes, you know? But explaining the clips part was fine. I feel like it just kind of like dragged on, right? I think that the Discord screenshots definitely dox this entire thing, an entire point. I don't think that you need to like address literally all these screenshots, many of which weren't even brought up in any of the hit pieces recently, and many of which even I had never seen. All right, as a terminally online for several years, you know, Twitch politics, you know, autistic virgin. Okay, that's like I was in the same place. I never seen some of these screenshots. No reason to bring up and give them more ammunition out of nowhere, right? But this right here, now I don't remember exactly, so I'm going to actually be hardcore listening, but I don't remember him actually giving a good response to him leaking his porn folder.
Right. So after all that, now we finally arrive at this most recent drama, the incident that lit a fire under Drama YouTube, and is, to my mind, the only thing I've done in the past 4 years that actually looks bad. It's pretty embarrassing, to say the least. So there I was, streaming a few weeks ago, browsing a men's fashion site. I wanted to look at an image more closely, so I right-clicked to open the image in a new window, but then accidentally instead clicked the Save As tab in the right-click drop-down menu. Now, because I am, as has been extensively demonstrated in this video, a idiot, my preferred strategy for keeping my desktop clean is to keep a single big folder called To Be Sorted, where every image, document, music file, whatever I happen to download gets sent. This is an insane thing to have as a live streamer, but, you know, there you go. It's me. So I hit Save As, and a half second later, a preview window of the folder and its contents popped up on stream. And now, of course, that folder had porn in it, so I immediately ended the stream and deleted the VOD. Even if it weren't just embarrassing to make a mistake like that as one of the largest political live streamers on the platform, it's TOS. You got to delete the VOD. So I stream with no delay, and folks are always screen capturing the feed, so I knew the contents of my To Be Sorted folder and the preview window were irrevocably public knowledge. But to be honest, that didn't really bother me too much. It was embarrassing, sure, but mostly because it made me look like a careless idiot, not because I was ashamed of the, like, furry demon monster GF big dick porn stuff I knew I had in there. You know, I rambled about liking all that stuff on stream before, not a secret. And I thought, you know, maybe in a way this would come across kind of charming. You know, like, that's my streamer, that idiot right there. My community was already making a big joke of it by the time I went live again. Of course, I knew as soon as the folder opened on stream that it would be pretty easy for people to lie about what it contained, to stir up drama or cause me trouble or for any other reason. So when later on in that stream, 1 or 2 people came to chat and they said, hey, there was lolly in there, you know, I figured they were just causing trouble and I banned them. Of course, we know where this is going. By the next day, I had learned from what felt like the entire goddamn internet that 2 of the images in my folder preview window were actually from a well-known lolicon artist, and therefore definitely intended to be lolly shit, which has to be the worst possible way to find out about that sort of thing. Now, obviously, the accusation here isn't just that I had those images.
Imagine not... Sorry. Imagine for a second that you're Vaush. You have all these things in your past that are kind of sketchy, and then you have all these things that are like a little sketchy, and then you have this happen, and everyone's like telling you that there's lolly on your computer. And you're like, no, there's not lolly on my computer. I'm not a pedophile. I don't watch lolicon. Idiots! Look at these people who are trying to. Obfuscate from the real goon that was going on. All right, the real goon that was going on was just the big horse cocks, and then finding out, oh no, I was jerking it to lolly. Like he's made that joke before, right? But it could just be that, just a joke. This time it wasn't no joke, bro. This time was no joke. This time you actually were gooning it to horse cock lolly porn, bro. And there's no backing out of it. I think it would be charming if you showed us your porn, Sondsol. Ha. I don't watch porn, all right? I have a life, and I have a girlfriend.
Save, that part's true, not really an accusation, but also
who put
that
these
I must
darn
have
lollies
known
in my horse porn?
that they were lolicon, save them because they were lolicon. Now, the obvious and predictable, but nonetheless true response from me is that no, I didn't know that, and that must not have been the impression I got from those 2 drawings, because if I had gotten that impression, then I wouldn't have saved them. You know, I mean, drawings are abstractions, and art styles and body proportions vary massively, even for characters that are unambiguously adults. That doesn't mean lolly shit isn't a
Okay, yeah, I don't remember listening to this part. This is massive cope. Like, you don't, this is the worst way that you could address this, like, at all, I think. I cannot think of a worse way. I don't think I can think of a worse way to address this. Why are you going to start talking about the artfulness of the CP, bro?
thing or a problem. I've bitched about it being a problem like a lot on stream. It just means that carelessly or inattentively failing to notice it isn't exactly impossible. Yeah, I know what some people are going to say. You know, no, you must have known. There's no way you didn't know. And like what am I going to do? Make a evidentiary argument here? You know, like I'm not putting up the images so we can argue about the pixels or the proportions or whatever. I know fully well that like 99.9% of people who have heard about this drama haven't seen the images, nor do I think those people should go looking for them, obviously. So it's pretty much entirely a take me at my word or don't kind of situation where people are free to lie about the drawings, or as I've already seen on Twitter, just post other really bad looking shit and say that's what I had in my folder. There's not much I can do about it, right? It's all totally unfalsifiable, and people are going to make whatever assumptions and inferences they want to make. All I can really say is that I didn't notice the problem while saving the drawings, the same way a person could fail to notice any element of any drawing if they were careless or inattentive or distracted. Hell, chat also pretty much immediately clocked 2 other drawings in...
Why? Okay, in my experience, I don't feel like I'm that inattentive. Like, when it is time for the goon sesh, okay, I'm trying to like think of any kind of equivalent situation, or like how you could not know. I just don't understand how you could not know. Does anybody else get someone steal, man, the goon folder thing? Because I'm not understanding it. I'm not gonna lie. This is something I truly have no... I can't sympathize with him. I can't empathize with him. I don't feel like I have anything in my life that is anything like this, where I'm like, oh man, you know what? I just didn't know that I was looking at images like that, dude. I just had no clue. That seems like the biggest unbelievable cope to me. I can't imagine it. there is something to be said about simplistic features making things look young, but this one was pretty obvious.
The folder preview window is being AI art, something else I didn't notice, and they gave me plenty of shit for that too, because I'm not a big fan of AI art. You know, I think I've done a good job of demonstrating a tendency towards carelessness, if nothing else. So leaving that stupid, least charitable argument aside, someone might then ask, okay, I get it. It's possible to make a mistake like that. Why then would you save the images? And what about them did you like? And look, there's really no way of saying this without sounding crass or flippant or whatever, but you know, it's already pretty revealing video. There's actually a very clear and simple explanation for why, you know, for not just those two drawings, but in fact, all the drawings in that folder and all my porn tastes generally. And it's an explanation that is extremely well known and well substantiated. I'm a size queen. I like big dicks. Yeah, I was looking through drawn porn like furry or hentai or whatever else. I saw big well-drawn dicks. I thought, cool, and saved the drawings, then never looked at them again, as evidenced by the fact they are in a big dump folder literally called to be sorted. That's, you know, that's the extent of the consideration that I gave those two drawings before my community and then the entire internet hopefully corrected my mistake. It's hard to even say anything about it. You know, 5 seconds of, ooh, nice dick, cool line art, saved. And it's a whole discourse. You know, I wish I had an answer that was more satisfying, but really for something like this, I feel like people are going to believe what they believe. You know, I do think there is a real argument to be made about carelessness, especially with regard to lolicon and its seeming omnipresence in the anime community. You don't have to know much about anime to know that's an issue with it. I find it repellent, and I've been bitching about it for years. Plenty of that bitching has been on stream too, but it's possible to find something repellent while also not being perfectly vigilant about it, you know, especially in art where stylization and abstraction can kind of, I guess, cloud awareness and judgment of the extent to which any artists you follow or people in the community might be doing sussy shit, right? Pardon me for taking my most indefensible position yet on this, you know, in this video. In the history of my channel, I actually do like some anime, you know, and there's a lot of really good shit out there in the anime community broadly, and in a lot of the sick anime babes getting railed on Twitter. You know, I'm sorry, like, often that is also cool. And I hate the fact that, you know, the pervasiveness of lolicon means that the entire community is tainted, basically, right? I don't like the fact that, like, you could be looking through what looks like a bunch of totally, like, normal, fine, cool babes getting railed by big dicks, whatever you're into, you know, while also feeling like you have to be vigilant that in this incredibly normalized process, some of these drawings might be of characters that are canonically underage, or that, like, an artist who generally draws in a kind of, like, cartoony style might be fine, but then another artist does that, but then they're, like, actually drawing like they're meant to be teenagers or whatever. I don't like it. And it's a normalization issue, and I think one of the best ways you could deal with it is by being aware. I'm not perfectly aware, so I fucked up. This wasn't the first time that I fucked up in this specific regard. You know, after the whole child labor argument saga, people went through a bunch of, like, likes in an old public Twitter, or, you know, porn account that I had, and over, like, thousands of liked, you know, furry big dick monster girl images or whatever. I think they found one that was like the character was meant to be a teenager, you know, like, and it's not surprising to me that that might happen because, you know, I'm running between classes, scrolling on my phone. I look at an image maybe 2 or 3 seconds before I like. The degree of scrutiny required there indicates that this.
No way. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Wait,
you know, furry big dick monster girl images or whatever. I think they found one that was like the character was meant to be a teenager, you know, like, and it's not surprising to me that that might happen because, you know, I'm running between classes, scrolling on my phone. I look at an image maybe 2 or 3 seconds before I like. The degree of scrutiny required.
Hey, this guy is a porn addict. Guys, how could it be any more obvious that the gooner in chief here simply is a porn addict? He's on his way to his classes, scrolling through porn Twitters, and we're questioning whether or not this man is perfectly healthy in his goon shit. Like, what the is wrong with these people, dude? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. I refuse to believe. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe I'm the only person that thinks that it's super ultra giga weird. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thinks that's ultra weird to sit there and have a goon sesh on your way to pre-algebra or some shit. Well, I guess it wouldn't be pre-algebra if it was college, right? Like, that can't be a normal human experience. I hope it's not.
Required there indicates that this goes beyond some kind of, like, matter of personal temperament.
Okay. I am highly uncomfortable with the Panda. I just saw what you're talking about in chat. No, absolutely not.
And extends broadly into like, how weird is it that that's something that's been that normalized, you know? Anyway, I don't mean to like make a big point or make it like a broader issue, you know, as a way of pulling attention away from me. I just think it's a broader issue, you know? You know, people are going to say what they're going to say. They can judge me for what they're going to judge me for. I think a lot of people have been real and charitable. You know, I think it's insane to say this like, yeah, he's a pedophile. You got him. I think that's insane. But again, it's not really an evidentiary argument that I can make. So, you know, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, I don't know. God willing, anime culture will get better one day. I wouldn't hold my breath though. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. I'm sure there are other clips or screenshots or arguments out there.
That's the long and short of it.
They're big anti-me.
My brother in
like
Christ.
I wanted to focus on the accusations that I feel are at least somewhat grounded. If I took the time to tackle all the obviously fake or disingenuous shit, we'd be here forever. And I think it would take away from the stuff I actually did feel I needed to address. You know, again, walking that line, there is a lot of bullshit, but I don't want to convey the impression that I feel every attack against me is illegitimate, or at least not properly motivated. So yeah, this isn't about debunking a narrative. You know, it's about waving away the most transparently bullshit stuff so that I can focus on explaining the actual mistakes that I've made, the actual stupid shit that I've said, providing context and laying out my thought process so folks on the fence have all the information before deciding to lean charitably or not. Yeah, I can't make someone be charitable. It's just up to how they see things. And, you know, I can't ever view all this drama from an outside perspective. I'll always be biased because I am literally the only person who really knows how I feel and why I've said the things I said. And, but to cap it all off, to cap all this off, I'd still like to try my hand at it. I'd like to try and present the charitable narrative, how I feel this all looks with all the information and how I hope people take it. You know, again, not holding my breath on that one, but this is what I hope for. You know, I have said some really, really stupid and difficult to defend stuff. That much is clear. But almost all of it comes from the very, very beginning of my time as a live streamer. Looking at it all laid out like this, 5 or so years of drama and accusations, I think it should be clear to people who have watched this far that the explanatory variable in all those old clips was my stupid debate bro brain. The obsession with inane hypotheticals and devil's advocates and shock value bullshit, which I employed because I thought using examples and comparisons that normies couldn't handle proved I was smart. It really is impossible to overstate how much I dislike the me in those clips, how I used to act in general. That being said, the terrible arguments and hypotheticals really were contained to those shock value debate bro moments. And as I stopped being that kind of debate bro, the terrible arguments and hypotheticals stopped. And that's why just about
the terrible arguments, they're only terrible arguments insofar as they're the CP arguments. They're not terrible arguments, you know, like in totality, I guess, because you make way more horrible, terrible arguments later on in your career, Vaush. All right, we can never forget. We can never forget, guys. The Aqua debate. The Aqua debate was one of the most embarrassing showings, and like I've had embarrassing showings on debates before. All right, I'm not a like Giga Chad, like 9,000 IQ, you know, debate bro. I'm a normal human being, all right? And I'm going to fuck up sometimes. But your bad arguments did not stem, okay? Did not stem from you being a debate bro. If anything, that era, despite all the weird lolicon shit, right? Despite all of that, that era was actually his strongest in terms of debates, because he would still employ, you know, stats about, you know, immigration from like a liberal standpoint or some shit, right? But if you're looking at his career like in totality over the past couple of years, the quality of his debates, the quality of his arguments have decreased dramatically. And it's not because he stopped arguing about, you know, pedophilia or whatever. It's because he stopped arguing from like a basis of fact, right? And it all became the, you know, no rules, just right, laissez-faire, literally nothing is weird, and the only reason everybody thinks it's weird is because of society, and society is wrong about X, Y, and Z, you know. Like, that's what the issue with Vaush is. That's what the issue with Vaush is.
About every clip used.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You gave the example, one of your arguments against the biological
banned for gooning. Oh, why doesn't it show me the messages? I banned him because he's a minor, and he shouldn't, like, I don't want a minor talking about his gooning in my chat. I think that's super gross. I think it's super weird. And in addition to all of, like, the weird genocidal shit that he has said and racist shit that I have not entirely, gotten over, wanting him to be gone from my community, right? We're not going to have weirdos talking about their porn preferences or anything like that in my chat. That shit's weird as unless it's an obvious joke.
Definition of woman was that we didn't know about chromosomes many years ago. Well, first of all, I don't think biological sex is defined in terms of chromosomes. But let's just use the example of water. Maybe we could agree that water is H2O. That was true.
Wait, live Vaush react. Live Vaush react right here, guys. I want this just as a GIF in my corner. Just him scanning his chat while the guy says that. Play.
Water. Maybe we could agree that water is H2O. That was true even before we knew about chemistry. That was the definition of water before anybody knew anything about chemistry, before we knew about H2O. Back when Aristotle thought water was just an element. Nevertheless,
this isn't true.
That water has not always been H2O?
Yeah, all you have to do is cross the Mexican border. And over there, it's aqua. That's H2O, not water.
Oh, man, you know what? I don't think I've ever watched the debate with video. I think I've listened to it. His face, dude.
That water has not always been H2O?
Yeah, all you have to do is cross the Mexican border. And over there, it's aqua. That's H2O, not water.
Aqua means water. Aqua is water.
It's a different term.
Actually, it's agua. It's not aqua, right?
Dumb fuck.
Good at it. Okay, let's see here.
Against me is at least 4 years old. They're more or less contained to a period of time during which I employed a rhetorical style that I would describe as stupid and insufferable. Even if the point I was making was fundamentally okay, I was also just way worse at communicating, which didn't help me. And that's another thing I'd like to stress. If anything has been thoroughly, objectively, uncontroversially demonstrated in all of this, it's that I'm a loudmouth. I can't shut the fuck up. I have no filter, etc. Worse than it is now, but nonetheless, it's a character trait. But in all the hundreds of times that, or kink, or whatever else has come up on stream, sometimes while I'm near blackout drunk from celebrating some event or another, no filter, I've always been really, really blunt and consistent about what I'm actually into in people, whether it be people my height or people with big round glasses or people with really dark, tired looking eye circles or pronounced collarbones or aquiline noses or whatever else. I know this is a low bar, but it's really weird to me because
Aquiline noses? Aquiline nose. Okay. That is not how you say that word. I spelled it wrong. How do you say that? That's not aquiline.
Aquiline.
Aquiline. Okay. Aquiline nose.
People accuse me of being a secret pedophile who accidentally let his mask slip by virtue of several months of extremely loud, abrasive, attention-grabbing, optically dogshit arguments, and yet also, back then and now, has been really consistent in wanting a girlfriend who looks like Reagan Ridley from Inside Job. That's a very novel way of letting the mask slip, right? No filter whatsoever. Clearly a poor sense of how other people will, interpret his words at times. Not always the best communicator, and yet it's every time this happens, it's always contained to hyperbolic debate bro bullshit. It's always shock value, rhetorical bullshit, which again, I know, low bar, right? But that, to me at least, that's the pattern. That's the clear pattern. And I don't do that anymore. I'm a lot better at making arguments than I used to be. I'm a lot less, I don't know, I'm not trying to deflect. I'm a lot less autistic than I used to be. I don't know. At least marginally. These edgelord debate bro tendencies led me to think that the best way to construct my arguments and convince people that I was edgy and smart and blah, 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 was through the invocation of the kind of stuff that I have been dealing with the consequences of for 5 years. I, more than anyone, know the problems with those arguments. I just think that they indict me in different ways than people think they indict me. I think if nothing else, I think they just make me look like a idiot, I have one that I'm trying to be less of, ideally,
I would like that. I certainly don't think I act now the way I did then. I don't think 5 years from now I will look at me now and think as poorly of me as I do looking at me 5 years ago. There has been some improvement.
Damn it. We're not
That's
gonna
the
have enough
charitable
fruit.
explanation.
I have to
That's the best I can offer. I think I set the stage with that child labor argument. You know, me being who I am, I mean, I was always going to get on, you know, people's nerves. And to an extent, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. A degree of abrasiveness, I think, is a necessary and endearing trait in some people.
Why does... Oh, wait. Uh-oh. Tron is... Editors signed in as me. Uh-oh. Why does he sound like Kendall, that weirdo who loves Eric July? I don't know who this is. These are all names that are completely alien to me. No, you're fine, Tron. I don't care.
Cope, I know. But I think that a lot of the stuff that's happened in my career over the past 4 years has been tainted by the way I made those initial arguments. And a lot of the stuff people throw at me, they wouldn't have thought to throw at me if it wasn't for that initial poisoning of the well. You know, I think a lot of this is inertial. You know, it builds up, and I don't know how to stop that inertia, right? I mean, people say, you talk about this often on all the time, you CP on your stream, but well, here I am talking about it again. Will this be the last time, or will a month from now I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, aren't you that pedophile? And what am I going to do? Stop the conversation and link them the video? You know, inertia is a difficult thing to stop. I think that's actually like the meaning of inertia, like definitionally. So I could opine at length about how a lot of the hate I get is inconsistent. It's all a big popularity contest, and I'm an easy target, and people get upset with me for shit they'd write off if other people did it, and blah, blah. But pointing out all of those extremely true and correct facts, it doesn't solve the problem. I don't want to be disliked. I don't even really want to be controversial. I think the stuff that I advocate for is universally good. I want everyone to live a better life. You know, people disagree about how to do that, but as long as you're on the path, as long as you think people being happy is a good thing to fight for, then I think there's at least some agreement to be had. I don't want to be controversial for that reason, or for a lot of the reasons I seem to be. You know, I get into fights with people who agree with me on like 99% of shit. I think my channel's a cool and positive place, and it and my community are both a big source of pride for me. So I'd like it if everyone, or half of everyone, some proportion of everyone could see it that way. There's not much I can do about the optics black hole, though, at least not right away. I don't expect this video will get much positive attention on release. I think it's going to be kind of broadly ridiculed, largely, I think, from folks trashing it who haven't actually watched it. This is something that I expect. This is something we all know will happen. Whether or not you agree with me on any of this, you know that'll happen. It's unfortunate, but I can't make that not happen. I can't, like, rewrite reality. So if I can't do that, then I just have to accept it. And I'm sure there will be, like, drama YouTubers who comb over it and pause every 2 seconds to talk about the, like, pedophilic contour of my frontal lobe or whatever. You know, they'll just make a big laugh riot out of it. Still, in spite of all of that, as best as I can, it's honest and straightforward, and I don't think there's much I can do besides present it that way and let people make their own judgments. So yeah, that's it. I'm done making all of the arguments about my past and how people perceive me and blah, blah, blah. I want to take a second here at the end to directly address just my audience, what I'm hoping for in the future and what I'm asking
let's
for.
See what, let's see what he has to say here.
You can still watch if you want, but if you don't care, then you can leave without missing anything. So to my audience, thanks for sitting through the whole thing. I know you don't have much of an attention span, especially because you're not used to this type of content on the channel. Don't laugh. Live streamers only turn into video essayists when they're extremely nervous. Look, first of all, I want to apologize for making it so difficult to be a fan of mine.
I don't think there's any inertia to it. If David Pakman did the same thing, result would be like 90% the same. I think it's a combination. It's interesting the bringing up of and like calling it inertia, because I had never heard anyone call it inertia before, or implying that there wasn't like an inertial force to online hate. I think it's an interesting idea. I would have to think about it. Yes, if David Pakman did something similar, everyone would also rightly be ridiculing him, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that there is some level, like, this is what I'll say. I do think that people will do this thing where they will have someone that they hate as a content creator, and they will find anything that they say, and it does not matter what they say or do. It doesn't matter anything like that. So the people that hate them will always hate them, and the fact that they hate them is going to lead to more people hearing about why they hate them. And so, like, in terms of like the inertia there, I think I understand. I'd have to think about that. I think it's an interesting thought, you know? Imagine if this happened to Ben Shapiro. I have no idea what would happen to Ben Shapiro.
And a member of my community. Seriously, I'm sorry. In this respect, at least, I think I've let you guys down. I think this is a great community, exceptional even. And as a consequence of my obstinance and carelessness and stupid debate bro hypotheticals, many of you have been ostracized from other online communities or harassed on my behalf. The content of this channel and my messaging is unambiguously progressive and inclusive and good-spirited, It's that might not be the popular conception of me and my content, but it remains true nevertheless. None of the people who enjoy my content for those reasons expected, I imagine, to be pushed out of other communities with similar values because they were a part of mine, because of me and my reputation. Yeah, I don't want...
The irony. I ever thought that I would be pushed out of Vaush's community for, liking Destiny's content a little bit more, just slightly, right? I never thought that I would be pushed out of Vaush's community for any of that. I never thought that I'd be pushed out of Vaush's community for, a lot of things. There are a lot of things that I never thought that I'd be pushed out of Vaush's community for, right? Being a very socially progressive, like liberal, but not being a socialist, right? For having his same take on neo-pronouns until he cucked out to Demon Mama. There are a lot of things that I didn't think that I would get kicked out of Vaush's community for or ostracized, etc. But like when it comes to that sort of stuff, there is zero sympathy from me to Vaush, because Vaush created his community. He laid the groundwork for all of this shit, and it is purely on him.
I want that to continue being the case, but I don't really know what I can do to change it. There's already such a massive gulf between what I know I am and what people think I am. The inertia of the uncharitability that I'm trying to push back against, it just feels overwhelming at times. While I'm working on that, you can help. I want you guys to chill. Stop fighting on my behalf. Stop arguing for me against others, especially on the subject of this video. That's one of the reasons I made this video. I saw so many people in my community tirelessly arguing against the worst and most dishonest shit people say about me, and I wanted them to have something that they could point to. This video, 5 years of drama, of bad faith bullshit and honest skepticism, condensed and addressed as clearly and as honestly as I could. If you're in another community and someone is giving you shit because they think you support a pedophile, point them to this video. And if they don't want to watch it, then that's that. There's nothing you can do about it. It's their choice, right? This is something that we've seen time and time again. People don't just change their minds because you've argued them out of a point. I mean, it's very rare. You have to make people want to believe. You have to sell them the argument. And if the argument is that this community is good, then hey, or that I'm good, look, there are ways to do that, right? You can. I'm not saying it's pointless to be a positive advocate for this community, but I want you to be just that, a positive advocate. Don't let me and this space and all the people who are a part of it be defined exclusively through raging against the constant, pointless bad faith drama. Don't let that be what this is. To be frank, nobody's ever been sold on a YouTuber because they saw a fan of that YouTuber passionately arguing that they're not a pedophile, right? It doesn't work. That's all people see looking in from outside this community, a lot of this is me, a lot of this is my fault, but as a natural consequence of my particular kinds of brain damage, the people in this community like arguing, and it's very frustrating to a lot of the people in this community to argue a point that seems absolutely, completely, inarguably straightforward, straight line argument, no way people are going to disagree with it, something about me, about the community, and then other people don't respond well to it, and it's frustrating, and it feels like you're just battling nonstop against tides of irrational hate, and to an extent, yeah, but what has arguing against it this way done? What has it gotten you or us?
Oh my
gosh!
I'd
wager. There are better ways to make these points.
Reflection, guys. He's actually starting to realize
the funny bits, all the good arguments, the fundraising for charity, or the canvassing, or positivity, or life advice, or whatever. There are lots of good things to talk about. I remember a while ago, someone on Twitter, they got upset with me. I don't remember why. It was a trans advocacy account, and there were people in their community who were also in mine, and they got upset with me. So people following them replied, "No, don't go after Vaush. He's cool." And that trans advocacy account tweeted, "Why do you all like Vaush so much? Like, seriously, what's with all this defense? What has he done for you?" And what resulted from that was, and this has been archived, it's something that I look at, I'm man enough to admit, I get a little misty-eyed, hundreds and hundreds of people talking about how me or the community, this community, have been instrumental in helping them in some way with regards to their identity, their acceptance, their ability to defend themselves against bad arguments. That's good, right? I mean, that's a good sell. I don't certainly I don't think that I would remember this with the same fondness that I do now if the response from my community had been like, I don't know, trying to debate them on how like, it's illogical for you to not like Vaush.
This is what I talk about. I used to have this thing that I would talk about with a concept that I'm sure someone smarter than me has a better way of has before me and has a better way than me of explaining this, but like a politics of positivity, right? Where you will instead of, you know, being ultra aggro, ultra, you know, debate brain shithead, whatever the right? Instead of that, you genuinely want to bring them into your side of the argument. You genuinely want them to understand why what you're saying is correct or whatever, right? Where you, in a positive way, lay out your arguments so that other people will agree with you, right? I genuinely believe in that. Now, am I perfect on this? No, I call people, okay? I use words that are now cancelable. And that's not a great thing, okay? That is a super not great thing for, you know, anyone. But it's just because, you know, sometimes you get pissed. Sometimes you say things that you probably shouldn't say. But, oh my God, do we really not just like have any food? Are we just like actually going to starve to death? Are we going to have to logistics, export and import and pray to the gods that we're able to not have everyone starve to death over the course of the winter? Cool. Import depot. There we go. I continue an article about the politics of positivity. Yeah. But the reason that I started thinking about that is I had an uncle who was a we were very, very close. He was always there. You know, just like I would say just like a perfect example of someone that is a positive person, just in their everyday life and in their political advocacy and all the things that they did, right? I think that everyone should be a little bit more like him, right? Especially if you want to be that, if you want to be that guy that is trying to affect change in the world, right? Like you got to be more like that. You know, working within the system to change things that seem kind of shit in the short term, but in the long term are actually really, really good. Someone who is going to be empathetic to people that disagree with them and calmly and succinctly lay out your point of view, you know, those sorts of things. There's not enough people like that in the world. And instead of debating people into a position, right, explaining to them why your position is good, right? Why they already agree with your position, right? Which is, I think that most people can get behind a lot of like at least liberal ideas, right? Even some socialist ideas, if we're being honest, a lot of people can get behind that stuff because it sounds really nice. It sounds like you're doing the good thing. So if you, instead of, you know, debating someone out of a position, you sit there and you say, hey, listen, I understand why you feel that way, but here's the counterpoint. And this is why I think you already agree with it, because you care about people, right? Is most people have the assumption they are right? Right. Which is why if you come at them aggressively, they're not going to change their mind. Notice that, like, if I'm debating someone, it's because I don't think that they're ever going to have a change of mind ever, right? But like with Sieg, me and him, our first conversation ever was on stream, and I don't think that I was, you know, aggressive. I don't think that I was, you know, debate broing him, right? We were talking about trans stuff, I think. I wasn't trying to debate bro him. I just said, hey, what about this? You know? Like, yeah, I don't think that you're like a hateful person, but like, what about this? Yeah, see, like we kind of can agree on these two things, right? And like from there, we just kind of like chilled. And I think that that's a pretty good way to explain yourself to people that actually will, you know, listen, right? But if they're already like so far gone, like I'm pretty sure that the Panda Man guy that we just rebanned for the 4 millionth time, I don't think that he can ever be reached. I don't think that he could ever understand. Genuinely, I don't. Political compass test and we memed on my answers. Is that what it was? Or no? Panda, you are a 16-year-old and we talk about adult themes on this channel. I don't know if there's ever going to be a reason that I'm going to unban you. I don't think you add too much to the discussion. So no, I don't think so. I think that maybe if you grow the f up at some point and maybe stop being like weird about almost everything, then maybe we could do that, but not right now. Okay. Why don't I have any food when I have a farm? We're going to expand this shit hard. There we go. 52. What happened to the good old days? What is this? It's Facebook. Let's see if I'm logged in. No. What is this?
Regular capitalism and all. Listen up, y'all. You've had regular capitalism and all the wealth just goes to the corporations. These fat cats just sit up there in their big old desk. They don't do shit, okay? I'm selling you super capitalism. Super capitalism is so invested in private enterprise that every single individual actually collectively owns a portion of the workplace they work at. You're a McDonald's fry chef, man. That's your part of your business, son. That's you now. Super capitalism. In addition, I am so in favor of market incentives and market forces that I reject the private ownership of any industry which interferes with the function of those market forces. Transportation, healthcare, these are inelastic markets, dumb. Super capitalism.
Okay. Okay. Are we good on this?
Gosh, how could you not? You know, like I don't think I'd remember it if that was what people did. Of course, all the kind stories didn't actually work. They deleted the tweet asking for them and nothing changed, but it's still something we can point to. It's something I can think of. Be positive. Be the sun. You know, I don't know if it'll really make a difference in the long run.
Okay. I think actually we're good on that. All right. What else are we going to do? Oh, my window's right here. Don't need that. Don't need that. Oh, what was the timestamp? Was it this one?
Wait, you just got here right in time. I just went live. Just H3 Vaush drama.
Yeah, right here.
Xan, are you going to cover the H3 Vaush drama today? I will give my take on the Vaush stuff, but I don't really think it's warranting of, like, a segment or anything like that. A, because I don't really, like, I'm not going to defend that content. And two, it's not really my... Like, it's not my drama, you know? I've just gotten out of a drama that hit my channel hard with the whole, like, Keffels thing. I'm not getting into more drama. I'm sorry, guys, but, like, I'm sitting this one out. You'll have to forgive me if I decide, you know what? I feel like I have the right to sit this one out, okay?
Xan, who I'm pretty sure if we go to his channel and we were to look up Lolly, Twitter has a lolly pedo problem, and it's bad. I love Critical, but he had a pretty bad take on lolly. Transphobic lolicon VTuber copes and seethes. Twitter is infested with pedophiles, and it's a big problem. How I upset the entire pedo community on Twitter. Xan debates a self-admitted pedo while overwhelmingly stoned. These are all videos about lolicon. He is the smartest Vaush orbiter. Because he's staying out of it. Because he is staying out of it. Oh, you know what we should do? We should see what a normie channel's reaction to this is. And then after, listen, after this video, okay? After this video, we are done, okay? We are done with the Vaush memes. And we'll do some like actual normal stuff. Drazdy. You're doing what Vaush and Tom do, and you don't know when to stop. You don't know when it's worth fighting something, and you don't know when it's not worth fighting. Or you don't know when it's like, it would be better for you to stop. The more you try to defend yourself, the worse you make yourself look. You don't understand why I've banned you so many times. So it is time for you to stop, take a chill pill, and I'll time you out for 24 hours. And I expect you not to say anything if you do decide to watch next time. I implore you not to say a goddamn thing.
With the horse stuff, pal. Look, hello, Vaush. You have to cool it with the horse stuff, pal. Look, I get it. We all have to push boundaries sometimes, but there are lines, and horses, well, that crosses one of my lines. Vaush, I'm not saying this to attack you. I'm just worried about you, please. No more horses.
Okay, the moment is finally here. Vaush, the horse lover, finally responded to everything.
Drasty doesn't understand unless you play this.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more! Where the are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
True.
I was editing my last video when this video dropped, and this video being an hour and 41 minutes, I obviously needed time to watch it, edit it, so that's why I'm a bit late. I'm not so fond of the fact that it's an hour and 40 minutes. You can straight up watch John Wick 1, and if that's not your cup of tea, you can literally watch Whiplash. You can watch Paddington 2. Just to put it into perspective how long this video is, I'm only going to show you the most relevant parts. And if you appreciate my sacrifice, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe with notifications on and like this video. Let the torture begin.
This is a video I probably should have made a long time ago. There are two main reasons why I haven't. For one, everything we're about to talk about has been discussed over and over and over again on this channel, in live streams and in videos. Some of it has been discussed to death. The second main reason I've been hesitant to make this video is because experience has taught me that, generally speaking, if folks want to hate you or distrust you or whatever else, it's pretty difficult to convince them otherwise. Just the attempt to change people's minds can come across as kind of self-incriminating. You actually ground them further in the positions they already have.
I don't completely disagree with him. I was going to dislike him regardless of the outcome. I already didn't like him before the Folger leak. And like you said, he's talked about this to death, but he continuously makes mistake after mistake to bring attention to the issue. And he has no one to blame but himself for this. I really hope he addresses what everyone wants to know. And it's like, sure, you're not going to gain any new fans from this. And it's not like people are going to see this video. They're going to be like, I'm automatically a Vaush subscriber, lover. I'm going to grab the merch. Now, like I said, this video is an hour and 40 minutes long. I'm not going to touch and talk about every single point, just the essentials. What's the most important stuff that we want to get out of this, right?
I hate to drop this on the people who just innocently watch me for my political content and don't engage in any broader community drama. Some folks online have called me a pedophile. Now, this in and of itself isn't actually that noteworthy. With the political climate being what it is, folks are getting accused of being pedophiles on Twitter left and right. It's pretty common. But some people have called me this way more insistently and a lot louder. So why?
Well, the thing is, Vaush has been known to call other people he doesn't agree with pedophiles. So now when it's up to him, it's no longer fun. To me, the word pedophile is a pretty heavy word. It's something that is disgusting. It's something that no one wants to be associated with. And there's a difference between being a freak, a creep, and a straight up pedophile. To me, a pedophile would be someone like Mini Lad or someone like EDP. A creep or a freak would be someone like Vaush or Tipster, the Tipman, the Mexican legend. That's how I kind of separate these things because, like I said, being called a pedophile is something extremely heavy. I personally, and if you go back to my Vaush videos, I never outright called him a pedophile because he's done some very questionable things. And regardless, even if he gives the best context to all of these following clips we're about to take a look at, it still doesn't take away from what the folders contain. The folders from like 2 weeks ago, it still doesn't take away all the bestiality and all the Geico Discord DMs and the drawings that your girlfriend made for you of the young anime girl. Regardless of everything he's about to show, he's asked for some very questionable things. Not once. I'm willing to give someone the pass once. And if you've never done anything wrong on YouTube or in your life, I'll do it twice. But it's been time after time after time after time with Vaush. It's like, how many excuses, how many passes can we give this guy?
We'll start with the absolute worst of it, the monstrously stupid argument that I made way back when I first started streaming that has since haunted me and irreparably tarnished my reputation. Now, this clip is the one that I see cited most often when people are accusing me of being a pedophile. That's not even a little surprising to me, though. It sounds pretty bad. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I get to hear a convincing moral or legal argument. That's why possession of... Like I said, pretty bad. This clip is from right after I started streaming, so a significant portion of my career as a live streamer has been spent providing context for the clip over and over to many people and many audiences. When they see me or my fans say that this or any other clip has been taken out of context, it comes across to them as an effort to shoo away legitimate suspicion, you know, chastising people for having an opinion on something that looks bad. Now, don't get me wrong, the clip is bad. It's rhetorically bad, it's logically bad, it's obviously optically bad, and the broader argument that it's pulled from are bad in all of those ways too. But as for what the clip and the argument that it's pulled from say about me, I would like to make the case, if I may, that it does implicate me, but not as a pedophile, rather as a idiot debate bro brain poisoned jackass, because I took a perfectly fine argument. I think that, you know, when I explain it, the argument itself will make perfect sense at least.
That's the thing with all of these people who are master debaters. They ask the stupidest things possible. What would you rather do? Would you rather save your family from a burning plane that's about to hit the Twin Towers in 2001? Or have sex with a kid? What? Like, I'm sick of these what if questions, or what would you do? It's fun with your friends, family, you get a little drink, you're just having fun. What would you rather do? Sleep with Lissa or sleep with 20 black men? Those are fun, but they're not coming from a political streamer. They're coming from random ass dudes like myself. The problem is when you're a political streamer, you're a master debater, and you are like asking these weird ass questions. So hypothetically, what would you rather do? Be homeless for the rest of your life and watch your whole family being killed by the Mexican cartel? Or would you rather do it with a kid? Can you make a debate for that or an argument? Am I the only one who's sick of these debate bros asking the most questions? Extremely rare Vaush W when he's actually taking accountability for his actions. These questions are fun in the appropriate setting. I'm sick of these guys who think they're the smartest human beings on planet Earth taking these topics.
And I ruined it with edgy, contrarian, devil's advocate nonsense. So let me explain. I had just started live streaming, and I was far more argumentative and belligerent and arrogant then than I am now, if you can believe that. Over the background of my mediocre Dead Cells gameplay, an argument with chat on the subject of foreign labor and unethical production was getting increasingly heated. I wanted to construct an argument that would effectively and succinctly convey the severity of the problem, how intertwined human suffering is with the regular products that we buy and use every day. Shock value was essential because I needed to prove how edgy and daring I was. And I wanted to really drive home the hypocrisy of the people arguing against me, who said you were downplaying, I guess, the issue with the whole child slavery intertwined in our, you know, economy.
And I get what he's saying, and I understand where he's coming from. Even I would never in a million years compare ethically getting coffee beans, for example, or cocoa, whatever it might be, chips for my iPhone 14 Pro. But what would you ever go to the other extreme? And then comparing that to producing and making CP, it's something so bizarre. I don't know why you would reach that far. It's a completely different conversation. I mean, I'm glad he's realizing that this was wrong and such a stupid example.
In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child should be illegal. How's that for a hot fucking take? Now, to clarify on this take, as I feel it necessary to do so, we do not, in this country, typically criminalize people who have procured media or resources which were the product of abuse. It is not illegal to own necklaces that have slave diamonds or whatever, what are they called? Yeah, blood diamonds. Yeah, all of our clothes produced by sweatshops are computers with silicon and lithium mined from literal fucking slaves. In our society, we have already deemed that people are not responsible for the mechanisms by which the media they consume and the content they engage with are produced. You like that argument? Ooh, you like that? You like that moral culpability? You're all worse than fucking CP owners, and I am too. Do you like that? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Shit sucks, right? But if we accept that argument for slave labor, then we definitely have to accept it for child. Yeah, there you go. My dumb goal here was to spark indignant outrage, to make people who downplay the immorality of unethical supply chains to reflect on the harm they were enabling through comparison and look bad. You know, it was meant to be like an invective, like something like, it's punchy, it gets right through to people. Obviously, it didn't work. The only person I succeeded in making look bad was me, and that wasn't one of the goals. So yeah, no, pretty bad.
Now, I'm all for people growing and changing their ways. You know, Vaush could find a cure for cancer, AIDS, and I would still not enjoy his content, nor will I ever subscribe or watch.
Jesus Christ.
But if he gets better as a person, that's all that really matters. And I think that's all that people want, really. At least he knows, maybe because he lost like 10,000 subscribers. But I'm glad he realized how stupid comparing chips on the computer, comparing iPhones to making and distributing CP is. It tells to take away from everything else he said and done. You know, it's a move towards the right direction. Now, this is not to be funny. This is a genuine question. And if any Vaush fan could answer it, that'd be great. Why is there so many clips of Vaush kind of vouching for CP to play the devil's advocate? Like, why was he so
Oh man, listen, you're watching the video, right? The video is right there. You can't cut the guy some slack, okay? He just said that he's not in favor of CP, okay? Cut my dude. Cut my man some slack, dude. Okay? Okay, let's see here. Above 152. Okay, we'll keep it there for right now. There we go.
focused on that? Like, once or twice I get it, but it's time after time that he's defending. And can you really blame people for thinking that of you when you yourself are owning up to, you're like, yeah, that was, I probably should have never said that.
Before I had a channel or was even known as Vaush, I was a frequent and notorious shitposter in the community of a streamer called Destiny. I know, that's why I am the way I am. I had been in his community for a long time, really long, and I really enjoyed the edgy, irreverent, debate lord culture of his Discord server. So let's look at some of the stupid, edgy, irreverent shit I said 6 years ago there that people have since screenshotted out of context in the pursuit of calling me a pedophile. So this is a perfect example of context being maliciously stripped from a screenshot in order to make me look bad, even though I'm right and it's not even controversial. You know, I'm uncontroversially right, I hope. Okay, so this one actually is bad, and I've apologized for it a few times. Basically, here I'm doing that thing that guys do where, you know, a hot female teacher will be arrested for raping a student, and the guys in the Facebook comments.
Okay, what was this one? I f***ed an adult as a minor, unironically hot. Yikers.
Section will be like, you know, where was she when I was that age? Could have used me some of that. And basically like the thing they do where they downplay and trivialize the abuses of the teacher because they personally think it would have been cool if they could have slept with their hot teachers back when they were 14. So this screenshot isn't really missing any context. It actually is shitty, but I've since come around on this and I've recognized how bad it is to downplay or idealize that kind of thing. So, you know, I've been consistent about that for years now on my channel.
You know, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I just don't want to be a full-time hater. You know, it's not like everything Vaush has done is horrible. I mean, some of it is really weird. The fact that someone said, Vaush, I an adult as a minor, and he responds with unironically hot at 10 a.m. Brother, it's 10 a.m. It's not time to be down bad. Save that for the night. But imagine waking up, logging into Discord, and someone says, yo, you know, I an adult as a minor, and you're like, fuck it, that's super hot. I'm glad he acknowledges that's really weird. Glad he addressed it.
Next one. All right, so this one looks bad. I think this is probably like one of the other things that gets used against me the most often. It is mostly just stupid in the same way.
Okay, this is, sorry to cut him off, and I know you guys are really into it, but this message is crazy. This is something I talked about in one of my Vaush videos. I really want to know how he defends this. And once again, this ties back to him always defending CP or being the devil's advocate or arguing for it. It's always CP and the age of consent, CP, age of consent, CP, age of consent. It's like, that's the only thing he seems to be focusing on.
It is mostly just stupid in the same way that the previous, like, terminally online debate-brained tendencies we've seen have been stupid. You know, my argument was that under socialism, an economic system that I don't believe exists or has ever existed, you could defensibly adopt an age of consent set to the same level as it is currently set to in England or France. Another pointless intellectual exercise conducted, I assume, because I and a lot of other people in the Discord server believed arguing controversial topics through inane hypotheticals made us cool and smart. Wow, good thing that didn't carry forward into my streaming career.
If you guys could take away anything from this video is, don't be terminally online and stay off Discord. I think that's the best advice anyone could give you.
It's a stupid argument. I definitely don't agree with it anymore. I probably didn't agree with it, like, very shortly after I made it because I was arguing about it. You know, like, it's pretty easy to poke holes in that one, I gotta say.
Let's get into the good, juicy stuff.
Finally arrive at this most recent drama, the incident that lit a fire under Drama YouTube and is, in my mind, the only thing I've done in the past 4 years that actually looks bad. It's pretty embarrassing to say the least.
That's
so
insane to say,
browsing
bro.
a men's fashion site. I wanted to look at an image more closely, so I right-clicked to open the image in a new window, but then accidentally instead clicked the Save As tab in the right-click drop-down menu. Now, because I am, as has been extensively demonstrated in this video, a idiot, my preferred strategy for keeping my desktop clean is to keep a single big folder called To Be Sorted, where every image, document, music file, whatever I happen to download gets sent. This is an insane thing to have as a live streamer, but, you know.
You live and you learn from your mistakes. Once again, this makes me question what other images have been on this guy's computer. I mean, this is the first time he got caught. I actually saw people defend Vaush for this in his comment section and on Twitter. It was actually crazy to see. They were like, well, if you look it up, it was clearly an accident. He didn't mean to do that, and that girl was of age, and who cares? Let him be a horse or whatever. I'm like, brother, you're poison. Your brain is so rotten to the point where you don't see anything wrong with the content of that folder, of that PC. I think he's a very strange individual with a lot of addictions. I definitely do think some therapy sessions are needed. I mean, he has the money for it. And it makes it more funny because he's always being anti-Loli, and if you're watching Loli, you're a pedophile, and now that he got caught with it, but I'm intrigued to see how he responds to this.
I hit Save As, and a half second later, a preview window of the folder and its contents popped up on stream. And now, of course, that folder had porn in it, so I immediately ended the stream and deleted the VOD. Even if it weren't just embarrassing to make a mistake like that as one of the largest political live streamers on the platform, it's TOS. You got to delete the VOD. So it was embarrassing, sure, but mostly because it made me look like a careless idiot, not because I was ashamed of the, like, furry demon monster GF big dick porn stuff I knew I had in there. You know, I rambled about liking all that stuff on stream before, not a secret, and I thought, you know, maybe in a way this would come across kind of charming. You know, like,
oh my
that's my stream,
God.
that idiot right there. My community was already making a big joke of it.
Yeah, like, look at this porn addict loser, guys. That's my guy right there. I refuse to believe Vaush fans are real, man. And I'm not saying all of them are losers or freaks or anything. I don't know. We gotta stop normalizing porn this much. Being addicted to it has become so normalized when it shouldn't be. There's a lot of things that are being normalized that shouldn't be. Like, yeah, that's my streamer. That's my porn addicted lowly streamer. It's like, well, hold on a second. Like, that's not something to be proud of. It just kind of makes a content creator look like a loser. Yeah, that's my guy. He wants to turn into a horse because he wants a big glizzy. It's like, man, you need help. And if you're not arrested for the lolly, you should definitely be arrested for all the disgusting shit you have on there. Gnomes, midgets, horses. That should be enough to jail for 20 years max.
By the next day, I had learned from what felt like the entire goddamn internet, the two of the images in my folder preview window were
I'm not gonna lie, guys. It actually is still insane to me It is actually insane to me that there were so many people fighting me in Chud's Discord about why there were so many people fighting me about whether or not it was weird to consume like orc and goblin porn. Like that was the hill that they were damned and determined to die on. I was about to say I would name names, but I think I did name names earlier. So I guess that kind of goes out the window, right? Gotcha, Tron.
A well-known lolicon artist, and therefore definitely intended to be lolly shit, which has to be the worst possible way to find out about that sort of thing. Now, obviously, the accusation here isn't just that I had those images saved. That part's true, not really an accusation, but also that I must have known that they were lolicon and saved them because they were lolicon. Now, the obvious and predictable, but nonetheless true response from me is that no, I didn't know that.
My thing here is, the thing that I don't understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm human, I make mistakes. It's not that easy to save an image. I showed it on my last video when I was trying to download a mini and yay, that you need quite a few steps for you to save an image. How did you not know? And I'm not talking like 15, 16, 17 young. I'm talking like under 10 young. Like, how do you do that by accident? Oh my bad, I click right and then I put save as or I put download on my computer. There's at least 2 to 3 steps for you to save an image. And you're a professional streamer, you know your way around the computer. How do you not know that? That's the part that gets me.
I know what some people are going to say, no, you must have known. There's no way you didn't know. And like what am I going to do? Make a evidentiary argument here? Like, I'm not putting up the images so we can argue about the pixels or the proportions or whatever. I know fully well that like 99.9% of people who have heard about this drama haven't seen the images, nor do I think those people should go looking for them, obviously. So it's pretty much entirely a take me at my word or don't kind of situation where people are free to lie about the drawing. There's not much I can do about it, right? It's all totally unfalsifiable, and people are going to make whatever assumptions and inferences they want to make. All I can really say is that I didn't notice the problem while saving the drawings, the same way a person could fail to notice any element of any drawing if they were careless or inattentive or distracted.
Something that we all can agree on is that he's a really strange individual. I think even if you're a Vaush fan, you gotta know that, right? Like, and not in the cute, nerdy way, more in the, the FBI might potentially be watching Vaush type of thing. I still think Vaush is a pretty strange guy. I will not be tuning into his next live stream where he talks about how good socialism is while making more than the average person. This is the point where you make up your own mind.
Damn,
like, he
bro.
didn't do it, and he didn't
That's
know,
kind of brutal.
He knew, and that was, and he's a fucking freak. It's a very tricky situation, but it also makes me question, like I previously said, what other stuff has he saved on that computer before, prior to this? I don't want to sound like a broken record and bore you guys with the same lines over and over again, but like if you mess up once or twice, as long as you're not, raping anyone, I think you should be good to go. Give the guy another shot. Everyone fumbles the bag, everyone messes up, everyone up. I get that, but this is a constant pattern. It's not like this is the first time this kind of stuff happened to him, or these kind of points are brought up to him.
So leaving that stupid, least charitable argument aside, someone might then ask, okay, I get it. It's possible to make a mistake like that. Why then would you save the images? And what about them did you like? And look, there's really no way of saying this without sounding crass or flippant or whatever, but it's already a pretty revealing video. There's actually a very clear and simple explanation for why, for not just those 2 drawings, but in fact all the drawings in that folder.
I'm a cum lord.
Generally, and it's an explanation that is extremely well known and well substantiated. I'm a size queen. I like big dicks.
All right, man. That's gotta be enough to have this guy banned from the internet. This is y'all streamer? Like what Vaush and Hassan and people like Ethan is online have done for the leftist movement is sending them back like 30 years. Hassan and Vaush are your top guys. I know that if I was a Vaush fan, I'll be embarrassed. Yeah, so this is where I'm getting off the train, all right? It was fun. I gave you some money, but I'm out, dog. This is too weird. How could you proudly be a Vaush fan after this? Yeah, that's my guy.
True.
My guy is the one who's a porn addict. Yeah, he's a queen.
Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Final thoughts. This video was way too long. I think this video is pretty mid. Thankfully, it does give us some context and he explains himself. Some of the stuff is just real and he said that it was dumb. This is where you guys choose whether you're rocking with Vaush or you're not, or you're just done with his BS. Just a very weird guy. But anyways, what do you guys think of the situation? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This was definitely something. All right, peace out.
Okay. No more Vaush. We are done with the Vaush stuff. Okay. Why does this guy hate Ethan? A lot of the commentary community despises him.
We want to zero in now on some of the dysfunction we've been watching unfold on Capitol Hill. There are some very senior, high-level House Republicans that are not coming back to Congress after this term, including Mike Green. He's the chair of the Homeland Security Committee, and Kathy McMorris Rogers. She's the chair of Energy and Commerce. The veteran lawmakers are among nearly a dozen Republicans leaving the chamber. The exits follow a historic year of dysfunction, including the ouster of then House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the failure of a landmark border bill that would have provided billions in aid to Ukraine and Israel that Speaker Johnson refused to take up. CNN's Melanie Zanona has details on this story. So, Melanie, what are you hearing from House Republicans who've decided that their time on Capitol Hill is up?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of different factors that go into a decision like this. It is a very personal one. Members have cited family reasons. Some members are running for higher office. But one thing that me and my colleague Annie Greer really picked up on when we were reporting this story is that there is a deep level of frustration with just how dysfunctional this House majority has been this session.
The sad thing here is that the Republicans can't afford to lose anyone that isn't already like bought into Trump or isn't like a hardcore pro-Trump person. Or isn't, you know, part of the MAGA, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene wing of the party. They can't really afford to lose anyone like that, but they are. And so that just means that the people that are going to run are going to get elected by insane pro-Trump people, which is insane. Also, why the do I not have any fruit? Do I not have anyone working in here? I do have someone working in there. So why don't I have someone hauling all this fruit over there? We should have a load of food. Hold on. We're going to do that. Thank you. There we go.
Of Congress, from all of the chaotic speaker drama to even just their struggle to pass basic procedural votes on the House floor. Just take a look at what some members told us on the record. Ken Buck, he's one of those retiring members, said, "We're not doing serious things." Carlos Jimenez, who was an ally of Kevin McCarthy, told us, "I thought that some of our members would be smarter." And Steve Womack, a veteran lawmaker, said, "We are fractured." And it's not just the number of Republicans who are retiring. It is really the caliber of the members who are retiring. There are 5 committee chairs alone who are deciding to call it quits. And that includes Kathy McMorris Rodgers. She is the chairwoman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, and she's not even term limited in that post. It's a very powerful position that many members spend their whole careers working to achieve. And then there's Mike Gallagher. He's only 39 years old. He was long seen as a rising star in the GOP, but he announced that he was retiring shortly after he voted against the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Secretary. So there's a lot of concern, Boris, right now about what this means for the Republican Party. A lot of these members have a ton of institutional knowledge that they will be taking out the door with them. And there's also concern for that governing wing. And when you have those members leaving, in their place, you have more hardline members like Bob Good. So just a lot of frustration, a lot of concerns about what this means for the GOP right now, Boris.
Yeah, and yet some of those hardline members that you mentioned are actually thrilled about this. They wanted to see new blood in Congress. We'll see how it all turns out in the long term, though. Melanie Zanona on Capitol Hill, thank you so much. We want to bring in senior data reporter Harry Enton for a closer look at this. Harry, walk us through exactly how many people on Capitol Hill are headed to the exits.
Yeah, Boris, you know, Melanie hit on the number of Republicans that are leaving, but there are a ton of Democrats who are also leaving the House. In fact, there are more Democrats who are departing the House of Representatives than Republicans. 25 Democrats, 23 Republicans. And that, to me, is the remarkable thing that's going on here. Look, there are plenty of years when more Republicans retire, a lot of Republicans, and years in which a lot of Democrats retire. But the fact that you're getting a bunch on both sides, that is what's so historically unusual here. In fact, I went back over the last 20 years or so and looked back to see, okay, at this point in Congresses, was there at least 23 folks leaving on both sides of the aisle? Boris, this is the first time it has happened this early since at least 2006. So something is clearly going awry for both sides of the aisle, where a bunch of Democrats and a bunch of Republicans are saying, you know what, forget about it. We don't want to be members of the
Forget
House
about
anymore.
it.
Well, obviously for each individual member, there might be different circumstances kind of edging them out the door. But I'm wondering, generally, is there an overarching theme as to why they're leaving?
Yeah, I mean, it's because Congress isn't getting anything done, Boris. I mean, look at the number of bills and resolutions that have been passed on right now through the Congress. It's only been 39. That is a record low at this point in Congresses since 1973. The prior low a decade ago, it was 83. So we're at less than half that level, right? So a lot of people have often complained outside of Washington, Washington doesn't get anything done. Well, that is certainly being the case this time around. And in fact, it's not just that Washington isn't getting anything done. It's that people hate Washington and hate Congress. I mean, what is Congress's approval rating at this point? It's 19%. So they're not doing anything. People hate Congress. That's why they're getting out of there. A lot of them are, Boris.
Harry Enton, thanks so much for walking us through those numbers. Appreciate it.
Okay. It's better to leave than get fired. Yeah, and unelected, yeah.
Last few moments, Donald Trump has posted his first remarks on the death of Alexei Navalny. He wrote this on Truth Social. The sudden death of Alexei Navalny has made me more and more aware of what is happening in our country. It is a slow, steady progression with crooked, radical left politicians, prosecutors, and judges leading us down a path to destruction. Open borders, rigged elections, and grossly unfair courtroom decisions are destroying America. We are a nation in decline, a failing nation, MAGA 2024. Caddy, Donald Trump has once again made everything about himself. These are, of course, his complaints about the campaign.
It is insane to me for anybody to compare what happened to Alexei Navalny to what happened to Trump. Because I've, believe it or not, been keeping up with what's happened to Trump. Trump did bad things and is reaping what he has sown. Alexei Navalny has been poisoned, has been brutalized, has had his family threatened, not with legal stuff that, you know, the family is responsible for, but with, you know, the legal threat for the fraud that they've, undertaken. No one in his family has been physically harmed. No one has been physically threatened by the government. It is insane to make that comparison.
His complaints about the legal system, hitting the campaign issues he wants to talk about, like the border. In that message, there are no condolences offered to Navalny or his family, and certainly no criticism of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I mean, that's billed as a response to Navalny, but it's actually not a response to Navalny at all. I mean, there's one sentence about the sudden death of Navalny with no context given to it, and then he's moved back to what he's been sending posts about all weekend, which is the justice system. And at the weekend, he seemed to be saying, interestingly, that actually his assets were greater than they were. Well, then presumably that means he can pay that fine that he's just been awarded in New York of $350 million. But no, there's not a lot there in the way of condolence, and definitely not any criticism of Vladimir Putin. Very different from what President Biden has said about the death of Navalny.
Yeah, and even Nikki Haley, his lone rival still for the Republican nomination. And
now to the parallel stories of a Russian patriot.
God, I hate watching MSNBC. I'm not going to lie. Like, MSNBC really is the like Fox News of the left, dude. What is this? And nearly every Republican senator under the age of 55 voted no on this America Last bill. 15 out of 17 elected since 2018 said no. Things are changing, just not fast enough. Youthful naivety is bliss. The wisdom of age may save the West. Reagan may be dead, but his doctrine saved the world during less dangerous times than these. If the modern Marx, Putin for the youngsters, restores the USSR while we pretend it's not our problem, God help us. Be free.
And an American idiot. The patriot, Alexei Navalny, the 47-year-old Russian political activist who led the most successful opposition campaign.
Well, listen, if Haley is the president for 4 years, I don't think that we're in for a doom spiral, right? I mean, I'll be like a little upset. I'll be, a little, right? But I don't think that we would be in for the doom spiral. Whereas if Trump gets elected, we're absolutely in for we're in for a really bad time, okay? We're in for a really unimaginably bad time if Trump gets reelected, right? I don't feel like there's any argument against that unless you're just fully bought into Trump. Like, it's actually, like, super bad if he gets reelected.
Against Russian dictator.
Listen, Republicans, if they want to rub in my face, first female president, Nikki Haley, God bless them, all right? But the issue is that they don't care about that, all right? Democrats do. Okay, let's see. All right, we're looking at positive food growth. Positive food growth, guys. We're looking good. We'll set this up like this, and we will build a couple of longhouses on this side for more population growth. All right. God, I just want this, I just want to have one colony start that doesn't like die by the time we get to the beginning of the mid game. Holy shit.
Vladimir Putin for more than a decade.
Check last tweet.
Galvanizing primarily young Russians to stand up against their dictator using social media and just plain bravery. so successful in exposing Putin's corruption that he was barred from running for president against Putin in 2018. In 2020, he was poisoned with a military nerve agent while on a business trip to Siberia, blaming the attempt on his life directly on Putin. After recuperating in Germany, he returned to Russia in 2021 and was immediately imprisoned and sentenced to a draconian 30-and-a-half-year sentence on a series of seemingly trumped-up charges. Navalny was eventually transferred to a Siberian gulag, where he was kept in a punishment cell. He was seen in court Thursday via video link from the penal colony, seeming to appear healthy. According to Russian authorities, today he fell sick and lost consciousness after a walk and died. And whether you believe that he died under the brutal conditions in that Arctic prison or that Vladimir Putin had him put to death, either way, the responsibility for his death lies at the feet of Putin, as Vice President Kamala Harris explained during a forceful speech in Munich, where she met on the sidelines with Navalny's now widow, Yulia.
We've all just received reports that Alexei Navalny has died in Russia. This is, of course, terrible news, which we are working to confirm. My prayers are with his family, including his wife, Yulia, who is with us today. And if confirmed, this would be a further sign of Putin's brutality. Whatever story they tell, let us be clear, Russia is responsible. And we will have more to say on this later.
Which brings us to the American idiot. According to Craig Unger, who interviewed a former KGB spy named Yuri Shvets for his book, American Kompromat, Our American Idiot, Donald John Trump, a third-rate real estate developer from Queens who was desperate to break into the big leagues in Manhattan and to be respected by the blue-heeled elites he so claims to despise, first appeared on the Soviet Union's radar in 1977 when he married his first wife, Ivana Zelnikova, a Czech model. And he allegedly became the target of a spying operation overseen by Czechoslovakia's intelligence service in cooperation with the KGB. 3 years later, he opened his first big property development in New York, the Grand Hyatt, buying 200 television sets from a Soviet emigre and KGB asset who co-owned an electronics shop on Fifth Avenue. The asset befriended Trump and got in the habit of flattering him. In 1987, Donald and Ivana visited Russia, pumped full of talking points that the operative reportedly fed him by stoking his ego and telling him he should go into politics. To understand how to exploit our American idiot, the Soviets studied his personality.
Jesus,
the
kind
former
of brutal,
KGB
guys.
Major Shvets told The Guardian, for the KGB, it was a charm offensive. The feeling was that he was extremely vulnerable intellectually and psychologically, and he was prone to flattery. And flatter they did. Word started to spread that our American idiot might run for the Republican nomination for president in 1988. And shortly after he returned from Moscow, he took a full-page ad out in the New York Times declaring that there's nothing wrong with America's foreign policy that a little backbone can't cure. It took the form of an open letter to the American people on why America should stop paying to defend countries that can afford to defend themselves. The ad criticized Ronald Reagan's foreign policy and implied skepticism about U.S. participation in NATO. The night it first ran, he went on CNN and was asked about NATO.
There are many other countries and taking tremendous advantage of this, including NATO. If you look at the payments that we're making to NATO, they're totally disproportionate with everybody else's, and it's ridiculous.
And it's ridiculous.
Fast forward to 2016, that American idiot, Donald John Trump, actually became president, due almost entirely to his celebrity as a former reality TV star on NBC. And now, as an ex-president, having committed serial crimes before, during, and after his presidency, including fomenting an attempted coup to try to remain in office after losing his bid for re-election because of how incompetent he was as president.
Here we go.
That Donald John Trump is still peddling those same pro-Russia talking points so perfectly aligned with the Kremlin. It's almost as if he was still receiving them from Moscow. Russia helped get
Oh,
Donald
no.
Trump elected in 2016, according to the Mueller report, by exploiting American social and racial divisions and amplifying them online, and by stealing Hillary Clinton's emails and exploiting the news media's voracious interest in them. And former KGB spy Vladimir Putin, who has been dictator of Russia in one way or another for nearly 25 years, is getting bolder and more blatant in his determination to subordinate the United States to him, to rebuild the Soviet Union by annexing Ukraine, which he lectured another American idiot, Tucker Carlson, belongs to Russia, and by openly jailing and killing his opposition with impunity, the latest victim being Alexei Navalny. While Trump leads one of our two major political parties, with his fellow Republicans parroting Russian talking points to the point where it's almost parody.
Whether you agree with it or not, Vladimir Putin believes that Russia has a historic claim to parts of western Ukraine. So our opinion would be to view it in that light, as a sincere expression of what he thinks.
We're paying for a war, a proxy war with Russia, when I've never seen Putin actually show in any detail his plans to invade Europe. No one has shown me that, so I don't believe the lies that I'm being told about this.
Making people believe like Ukraine can win. No, Ukraine can't, Putin won't lose. Putin will not lose. He's not going to lose. You have to factor that into the reality if you're going to deal with this thing effectively to bring this war to an end.
Today, the Republicans' dear leader, Donald John Trump, had no response to the death of Alexei Navalny, as one would expect from someone so enthralled to Vladimir Putin. But President Biden did not mince words about Navalny's death or the Russian dictator's regime.
Damn. What else do we have going on? I heard about this. Let's see here. Let's catch up on some news real quick. Oh wait, hold on. What are the golden sneakers? Is there someone that's not MSNBC that talked about it? It's all MSNBC all day. After the tweet, watch this. Wait, link the tweet again.
So a long-standing feature, maybe the longest-standing feature of Cold War.
HD Vance resounding to it. I like Kevin, but come on, man, have some self-awareness. The fruits of this generation in American leadership is quagmire in Afghanistan, war in Iraq under false pretenses, declining life expectancy, and demographic collapse in the West. Demographic collapse in the West? Okay. China is facing a demographic collapse because they don't have enough people having kids, and they are going to have a work shortage once everyone starts getting old. Russia is possibly going to have a demographic collapse because they're sending so many people to die in Ukraine, so many young men, that it's going to be hard for them to recoup that, over time. The only demographic collapse in the West that we're looking at right now is that white people won't be the majority. Before we watch this really quick, there was something that I heard about earlier today, and let's see if there's a YouTube video of it. Yeltsin Randalls.
Did you know that Jell-O pudding pops played a role in dismantling communism in the former...
I found out today that Boris Yeltsin went to Houston, Texas, my home city, and his impromptu visit to a Randall's grocery store. And if you don't live in the U.S., all right, Randall's is a huge grocery chain, right? Huge grocery chain. You can find a Randall's. I feel like in every state, I don't feel like I've been to a state where there hasn't been a Randall's. All right. He walked into a Randall's and he was so up about what he saw, how there was fresh meat everywhere, right? How there was, fresh produce, and there were Jell-O pudding pops, which, according to him, not even Gorbachev and people in the Politburo, right, weren't able to get access to. Okay? He was so f***ed up from that 20-minute surprise visit to a Randall's in the middle of Houston that it possibly led him to do what he did during the collapse of the Soviet Union, bro. I had never heard of this.
Soviet Union? Back in 1989, Boris Yeltsin, a high-up communist politician, made a trip to the United States. This was 2 years before he became president of the Soviet Union. At the time, he was shown a NASA space station and had other important meetings with government officials. But of everything he saw, it was a trip to a simple American grocery store called Randall's that would prove to be the most important. Yeltsin and his team dropped in with little notice to the grocery store in Texas. He was shocked at the huge selection of food that was available to everyday people in the US. Just look how excited he is here to see some simple frozen treats like Jell-O.
This is a normal grocery store here in the US. All right? A normal grocery store. A small one even. All right? There's a, let me see if I can get images. HEB, Houston, near me. Get the one on in between here and here. It's not Greenway Upper Kirby, right? No. It's right off of I-10. Where's I-10? There's I-10. There it is. The biggest grocery store I've ever been to in my life. Let's see if we can just look at some images of this giant grocery store. Stop. We have a huge, like, nearly football-sized cheese section, okay? This stretches at least a football field and a half, just all the way along the store. Let me see if there's like anything that gets us like that sense of scale. Lots of pictures of the bakery. Man, there's just nothing that quite gets the scale down, you know? Because it is an unbelievably, even when like, because I've had to go there a couple of times because it was near a place that I used to work. Like, it's just an unbelievably huge goddamn grocery store.
Pudding pops. According to media, Yeltsin told his colleagues that if the Russian people saw how superior U.S. supermarkets were, quote, there would be a revolution. Unlike in Russia, American customers didn't have to wait in line for hours just to get in. This simple visit would play a huge role in his decision to take the Soviet Union away from socialism and towards a market-based economy. Yeltsin would later write in his autobiography, "When I saw those shelves crammed with hundreds, thousands of cans, cartons, and goods of every possible sort, for the first time I felt quite frankly sick with despair for the Soviet people. That such a potentially super rich country as ours has been brought to a state of such poverty. It is terrible to think of it." To hear stories from Canadians who have lived in socialist or communist countries, please visit secondstreet.org, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
And then right after I heard about this, my girlfriend looked up Russian grocery store in the same year, 1989. It's just depressing. It's just depressing. There's nothing there. And even if there was something there, it is like a quarter of the size of one section of like the HEB that I was showing. Let's see, where's the part where they showed the meat? Is this the meat section? Yikes. These are the frozen meals. The Russians couldn't even begin to conceive. Couldn't begin to conceive of our hungry man frozen meals, dude. Where's the part with the gross ass meat, dude? I think this is it. Look at this gross ass meat, bro. No one even wants to grab anything because it looks so gross. Zip ties around it. This poor babushka. No, pick some of that shit up. She's actually only 40. All the stresses of socialism worn on her. It's just like it. All this is to say, it was insane. Okay, it's insane that it was so disparate.
Donald Trump's high-top golden sneakers sold out less than a day after the Republican frontrunner for president used a stop on the campaign trail to hawk those almost $400. They're $399. Trump-branded shoes at a sneaker con in Philadelphia. The launch came a day after a devastating blow to his finances when a New York judge ordered Trump to pay $355 million plus interest for lying about his wealth for years to secure favorable loans. Joining me now, David K. Johnston, founder of DCReport.org. And co-author of The Big Cheat, How Donald Trump Fleeced America and Enriched Himself and His Family. It's always good to have you on the show. So let's get into this because I've got to ask you about those golden shoes. Are there any kind of a
I have
golden
got
ticket for
to.
Trump? I mean, is this
I
a realistic way to put a dent in
ask
all
you about those
legal
golden
bills?
shoes, guys.
It's a way to divert attention and show once again that Donald Trump isn't now and never has been a billionaire. He sold out a small run of these shoes, and there's no way he's going to put a dent in the total amount that's already on the table, which comes to, with interest, more than $500 million to E. Jean Carroll and to the state of New York for his persistent frauds. And there's more cases coming, Alex, by police officers at the Capitol and others.
You know, you're right. Absolutely. We're not factoring that in because we're so focused on all that is out there officially underway. But you're right. Let's together look a bit more closely at the financial burden that Donald Trump is now facing with all of these legal fees and fines. We're going to look at the money that he owes. And this is what I'm going to have our viewers look at this wall here and all the graphics panels. But here's the question I ask. On the witness stand last year, Donald Trump said he had a lot of cash. But do you think he's going to be able to come up with the more than $500 million that he may owe as fast as the courts require?
I think it's far more likely that Donald will do the same thing that his unpaid lawyer Rudy Giuliani did, and
Unpaid
Alex
lawyer,
Jones, the
guys.
conspiracy
Oof.
theorist, did.
Hitting
He will
him.
seek
Hitting him
refuge
hard.
in bankruptcy court. And, well, I don't think that will save him from the judgments at the end of the day. It certainly will delay them and allow him to continue posing as a man worth, as he claimed when he announced in 2015, a man worth well north of $10 billion.
How many times has he filed
10
for
billion?
bankruptcy? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I do. Donald's never personally filed for bankruptcy. In 1990, thanks to the New Jersey Casino Control Commission taking his side against his bankers, he had the private equivalent of a bankruptcy and shed $1 billion in debt. His publicly traded casino company went bankrupt 4 times when he was there. He was then paid to go away. It went bankrupt 2 more times, and then it failed entirely. So this, if Donald were to file personally, this would be the first time he's actually filed bankruptcy, but it would delay everything. And that's Donald's fundamental legal game. Delay, delay, delay. The second part of the game is accuse law enforcement and others who want to hold you to account. You're perfectly, Donald, I'm perfectly honest. Everyone else is corrupt.
Yeah, absolutely. So under Judge Engoron's ruling, David, Donald Trump's going to be barred from running a business in New York for the next 3 years. How limiting do you expect that to be? Who's going to keep his current businesses operating? Because neither of his 2 sons can do it for 2 years.
Well, that's effectively, I think, going to turn out to be the function of the independent compliance monitor or director who the judge ordered to be in there in the business. Any routine transactions will go on, meeting weekly payroll, paying vendors for delivering wine to the restaurants. That'll go on as normal. But any significant transactions will have to be approved in advance by Judge Barbara Jones, the retired jurist who is the monitor. And the day-to-day operations will all take place under the aegis of this independent person who's yet to be appointed. This is for Trump is complete humiliation. I mean, he claims to be a business genius, as I've called him, a modern Midas who turns everything he touches to gold. And that's just not what the factual history of Trump shows. He's a huge destroyer of wealth.
Look, this conversation proves you have very closely examined Trump's business acumen. How much of a reckoning is this for the former president, particularly with respect to the title of your book, which proves how closely you've watched him as well? It's called The Big Cheat, How Donald Trump Fleeced America and Enriched Himself and His Family. So put it in perspective.
Well, Donald's entire life has been based on lying, denying, deceiving, cheating. That's why I call him the greatest con artist in the history of the world, because he conned his way all the way to the White House. He has a long history of not paying his workers, not paying vendors, not paying lawyers. He cheated novice roulette players at one of his casinos, the only time we've ever known of
See, like, that's why I hate listening to MSNBC, is because, like, it feels like they super hardcore load the beginning and end of everything with, like, oh, Donald Trump's a bad person, as if people didn't already know that, right? Like, as if this is a surprise to anybody. Donald Trump Oh, did we lose? Oh shit, I did lose some frames. Are we back? What happened? Why are we watching this? Sorry, I was watching I just wanted to know about the Trump sneaker stuff. It's not that important. Okay. Anything else happen? I have half a mind to watch this Jaden thing. I have half a mind to look at some of the debates that this guy that we are possibly going to have a debate with. I'm trying to decide which. Watch the Tucker video? Oh yeah, that's right. We were going to watch...
Propaganda in the West was the Soviet grocery store. No products, no choices, shoddily made things. And it wasn't actually propaganda, it was real. And you could... So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. Okay, this is the...
Tucker's never been to Aldi in America because we have this in America. This is something that lots of countries in Europe have. It has nothing to do with trying to keep it from homeless people necessarily. They just don't want people stealing their shit. Okay.
The grocery cart escalator. This is designed, I'm figuring this out now, where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator. Look, Ma, no hands. Retail placement here is a little bit different. So it's like walking through Macy's to get to Whole Foods. Okay, we've gotten through the perfume section to get to the grocery store. So we're gonna try and buy what a family of 4 would buy every week, and we're gonna see what the selection is, and we're gonna see what it costs. Now, Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. The low-carb lifestyle is...
Are we still losing frames? Why are we losing frames? Am I like connecting to the Wi-Fi or something? No. Hold on. Okay. Let's see if that smooths things out. Are you guys, is it buffering on your side? Weird.
It's not swept Russia. Thank heaven, because I mean, look at that. It's fresh too. Look at that. Oh, come on. Unicorn and mini mills. All right. Kind of Russian wheat cookies.
This is like those like weeaboo. Here, one second. I'm gonna do one more thing to try and like smooth out some of the stream stuff. But this is like those videos of people like going to Japan for the first time and sewing out about how much better everything in Japan is than in America and all of that shit. It's actually incredibly cringy. Like, all things considered, it's actually giga cringy.
Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? Yeah. I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you, but it looks like a staple, so we should get it. It's a very good-looking package. It's got to be flour, right? And this is Russian wine. It's from Crimea, which not only has the warm water naval base, but also is the source of most of the in this part of Russia for wine.
Imagine, like, I can't watch anymore. I'm sorry. Imagine, like, just like 4 or 5 years ago, someone going to Russia and then like sewing out so hard about it. As an American journalist. No, not even 4 or 5 years ago. No, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I can't really like say exactly when, but in like recent living memory, the optics of an American going over there and then saying everything is so much better here than in America. Imagine if like a Democrat did that before Trump was elected. It's just insane. Okay, let's see here. Is there nothing going on today besides the Vaush stuff, dude? Listen, Tom must be over the moon. Tomfoolery must be over the moon over Vaush like getting so much bad press. It's insane. Okay, I guess we are going to watch the Stardust thing with Jalen. Conversation starts. Thank you. Let's see what the chapters are titled. Well, let's do it like this. Conversation starts. Stardust should start since technically she's the one who started this, if you're gonna drop the N-word left and right like it's something to do, Jalen's response, Star doesn't seem like a good person. Okay, it's just quotes. Why not just like give us what the conversation's about?
Awesome. So who would like to start? Either of you?
I mean, I don't really care, you know.
Well, I mean, I guess Stardust should start since technically she's the one who started this. Whatever.
I guess
drama.
I did start it. Yeah. The reason why I started it is because some random person on Twitter decided to be like, "Oh, I can't believe that you would say this about Jalen." Well, yeah, I did say it, and I don't regret it. I think that if you're gonna drop the N-word left and right, like it's something to do, that's a very male socialized behavior to do. You're not really convincing me that you're really trying, right? I don't know many ladies who drop the N-word the way that Jalen does. Secondly, just
Stardust
the way
coming
that
out
Jalen screams at
immediately.
people, now finding out that Jalen punched a hole in her wall. Like, yeah, these are very male socialized behaviors. So I feel like if you're gonna try to be a woman.
Wait, hold on, really quick. Let me go to Twitter real quick. We go to Twitter real quick and just Easy Gamer GG. Speaking of punching holes in the wall, can we all agree really quick? I didn't even watch much of this video, but we'll watch it super quick. Living with ADHD and borderline personality disorder, BPD.
Who checked on you today? Who checked on you this week? Okay, who checked on you this month? Yeah, and I don't mean checked on you as in they want to get high, they want to get drunk, they want to use you for a motive. I mean checked on you just to see if you was okay. I mean checked on you just to see if you want to catch up over a coffee. Not these people who've always got a personal gain or a personal motive from it. They want to use you for a good time. Nah, those ones don't care about you. They don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your life. They don't care about your career, and they don't care about your relationship. Think about it. People are going to use you all the time. They're disguised as friends, but they're fake. Only real friends will tell you what you need to hear. Only real friends will push you forward. Only real friends will check in on you to see how you are. They care about you.
This bitch took the time to set up a camera in front of her closet and then proceeded to kick her door and destroy her own shit. And the caption is living with ADHD and BPD. I'm sorry, but no. But this caption is equally insane to me. Hi, BPD haver here. Doing this in a controlled way and being able to take the time to say set up a camera, do it before deciding to freak out is a good thing. She's made a lot of progress, I'm sure. Controlled anger is part of somatic therapy. This right here, guys, can someone please tell me if I'm wrong in saying that this is not controlled anger? When there are better things that you could do, like go on a run or get a punching bag, or literally anything besides destroying the infrastructure inside your home, like all the doors? Is this not insane to anybody else? How do you deal with anger issues like that? I either throw shit against walls or I completely bury down below and dissociate. I'm tired of breaking shit and it's already getting in the way of my job and I don't want to get fired. These people, I was going to say need therapy, but that's not going to be enough. They need medication. They need to be heavily medicated.
You know, you should probably make some efforts, right? That kind of behavior is very threatening to the average woman. So, yeah.
All right, Jalen, you got a response?
I don't know. Not really. I don't even know why I never said anything to this person. I never interacted with this person. I just had someone send me this clip and be like, "Oh wow, this person's being transphobic to you." And then I just subtweeted. I was like, "Wow, this Nazi streamer or whatever said this shit about me," and that was it. And then I guess it spiraled into drama or something.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Why is Stardust a Nazi?
Well, I mean, I made the assumption based on the little I know about this person, because I've seen a few people that I watch, few streamers and people that I watch talk about this person, and I don't know. I just from what I saw, they don't seem like a good person.
Okay. Do you think a good person is somebody who like screams and punches holes in walls and tells a person who was just recently a victim of a hate crime that they hope that they die? Do you think a good person does those kinds of things? Do you think a good person drops the N-word
Jesus.
again, like it's something to do, like you're used to it, like you were very comfortable with that word, by the way.
Why are you quoting H3? What the hell? Why are you quoting H3?
Quoting H3 with what?
Yeah, you're literally quoting H3. Wow, he's really comfortable using that word.
Man, let me just say super quick that Stardust, if Stardust wants to avoid the lolcow allegations, she needs to stop with the ADD videos, the satisfying videos in the bottom corner to keep her audience occupied. That shit's super cringe. I have a little bit of a difficult time. I'm not going to lie. I have a little bit of a difficult time criticizing people who I am friends or friendly with on stream. I do have a little bit of a difficult time with that, and I admit that. It's a personal failing, okay? However, someone needs to tell Star that this shit's like insane and very cringy, and that if she wants people to like respect her more, I guess, that she's desperately needs to stop with it. She has to stop. It is a meme. It is a literal meme that people get made fun of for doing. And I don't think that she's doing it as a meme. Otherwise, I probably just like wouldn't say anything. If I thought it was just like all a joke, I wouldn't say anything. But I don't think it is. There are so many better ways to keep your audience's attention than the literal like Zoomer meme, like, oh, Zoomers don't have attention spans, LOL, they gotta watch Subway Surfers because they can't watch a video that lasts more than 15 seconds, so you gotta have Subway Surfers on there. Like, I'm pretty sure Star has enough self-respect for herself to not do that shit, right? This is what a good person does at 9:13. True. Oh wait, 1 second.
Seriously, just get a safe word. It's actually a good idea.
Well, no. Just
I always get it. I
Yeah,
touched
we'll lead on this one.
the hard, the granite a little bit.
Yeah.
That just feels good.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It just feels good.
What did you just do?
Brutal.
The couch now moved. Did you just hit the couch?
Let me just move the couch back.
I didn't hit the couch. No, it was just it was a meme, bro.
That's a whatever.
I said like what, 4 words, and I'm quoting H3 with 4 words.
I mean, yeah, you kind of are
4
quoting
words.
H3,
Okay, I
yeah.
will remember now that I can't use those 4 words in that order ever again because H3 did it. All right.
Okay.
So what do you have to say for yourself? I'm the bad person. I'm the Nazi, right? But you are the one who just told one of my friends who just recently suffered a hate crime that you wished the guy at the bar who had assaulted her had done the job.
I know what this is.
So-
Yeah.
Whoa. Damn, Jalen, did you do that?
Yeah, because that person was shit talking me for no reason and saying a bunch of up shit. So I said some shit
What did
too.
they say that was up? What did they say that was up?
What's my take on Star versus Jalen? I literally don't know anything about it except for a clip of Jalen saying that Star was a Nazi. That's literally the only context I have for any of this. So I don't have much of an opinion on this yet. But so far, Star's cooking this Jalen person. Star's kind of roasted him
Just I mean, I have an entire like whole DM history with this person because
call
they're
you
friends
that-
with
okay.
they're friends
did
with
they-
Nazis and pedophiles and shit. So
What did
I
they
think
call
the
you?
person's
What did they
mentally
call
insane.
you that made you?
A bunch of f***ed up shit. That's what they called
They
me.
said that you were on your way to become a lol cow. That was what warranted you telling her that you wish she died from her confrontation.
Sure, I guess. If you want to go with that.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Does this
Yeah,
person
I
not
mean,
want to
look-
be
Sure, I
not want to
guess.
be known? By the way, because I'm just a little
I'm
confused.
just
Is this-
respecting
No,
her
I'll
privacy.
say
I have
Olive.
no
I'll say
idea.
Olive.
I was just wondering, are they content
yeah.
creator or something, or
No.
No,
Olive
not really.
Oath
They're
on
just kind of
Twitter.
in the space though. So
okay, fair enough.
but yeah, what's with the N-word saying, my dude?
I don't know. I said it a couple times. Like
A
it's the
couple of
internet, I guess.
times. A couple of times. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could
Uh,
say it right now. I could drop all the M-bombs.
Chill.
If that's what
Let's
we
chill.
want.
Let's chill. Put your hands down. All right. Hands behind the head. Chill out. All right, Jalen. Chill. All right.
Yeah, look, I'll admit that I was being, and I said it last night. I was transphobic, but I was only transphobic towards one person. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Someone get me the context clip, okay, of why Stardust is saying that. Yeah, I was transphobic, but that's something I want to see. Sorry, I want to see that real bad. Yeah, I was transphobic, but it was like an acceptable amount of transphobia. That's what I want to see. If it's Sondsol level of transphobia, it can be forgiven. If it's anything past what I would say is acceptable, then that means that you've gone real hard into those memes, okay? And that's the truth of the matter. Stardust couldn't cook if you gave her a flamethrower? Listen, I didn't say that she is going to continue to cook. I said that she was cooking this person, right? In spite of everything, right? I'm still friends with Stardust. I think that she's a cool person. I say in spite of everything. Like, despite the criticisms that she has gotten, I still think Stardust is a nice person, right? I think that she's chill. I wouldn't like die on any hill for like some dumbass debate that she has, right? But I think she's a nice enough person who needs to recognize when she is being cringe and when she is being normal. And I feel like that's a difficult thing sometimes for a lot of content creators.
I believe in trans rights, okay? I just don't believe in them for Jalen.
Wait, was she white knighting for Tom? I didn't see that because I have a life and I'm not gonna like sit there and watch every single streamer drama. But did she white knight for? Did she white knight for Tom? Why?
That's all.
What do you have to say? So what she's basically saying is you're not valid, Jalen. Sorry. That was
Maybe
mean.
one day Jalen will prove me wrong. Maybe Jalen one day will be somebody that I will want to defend trans rights for, right? But right now, certainly not. Certainly not.
There's no way that she was going harder than Mantis. Okay, you're gonna have to give me like a clip or a video. There's just no way.
All right, Jalen. Anything else there?
That's cool, I guess.
That's cool, I guess. Awesome. Hey, Beerus, what's up? All right. So, is there anything else? You guys, is this just it? Yeah, that's cool, I guess. And then nothing. No.
So why do you think I'm a Nazi though?
Uh-oh. Yeah, why is that,
Hello?
Jalen?
Okay.
Okay, this is the clip that I saw, but I saw it in a hold on, let's see if we can find it real quick. Media. Hold on. Let's look up Nicholas D'Oreo Jalen. I'm rate limited. Oh, of course, it's going to be impossible to find. Scroll down. Oh, okay. Nope, never mind. If someone finds it, link it to me.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
So why am I a Nazi?
I have no idea.
I am Femios, and I'm here to debate you.
Right. Well,
Oh,
brown
okay.
Nazi over here. So yeah.
Maybe we can like kind of talk this out here.
More of a Nazi than Sawdust is.
True. Very true. Is it, like, Jalen? Is there? Let's get to the bottom of it. Like, what exactly is it? Just what Stardust, the transphobic stuff that Stardust said about you? That's what really pissed you off.
I guess so. Yeah.
But we've had this discussion before in the sense that you say horrible things to people, and then when they call you,
I say horrible things to people because they say horrible things to me. That's what people always leave out.
Right.
Hold on. Is the Jalen person just like a mega, like a giga mega omega, like crazy lol cow or something? Because I'm going to feel like bad beating up on someone who is already, incapable of defending themselves.
Well, I'm just saying, like, obviously you said something horrible back to her. I get it. So are you personally offended by the transphobia, or is it just like you threw shit at me, I'm going to throw shit back at you?
I don't know. Both, I guess.
Both.
Look, I get called a street shitter all the time. I get called all sorts of different things all the time. I don't ever use that as justification for dropping the N-word with a hard R. If you're just saying the N-word with a soft A while singing along to a song, I wouldn't really care, to be honest with you. You're singing along to a song, but why? Why would you do the hard R? It's just like a completely different level.
I think what's going on is Jalen's had this conversation so many times. it's just like
I'm not the first one. Damn. Dude.
No, you're like the 10th. You're the 10th at this point.
I stand by what I said last night. I don't care. Okay, if you think that being a woman is just growing your hair long and you can just shout the N-word with the hard R
Jesus
whenever you
Christ,
want, like it's
Star,
something to do because
chill
it's really
the f out.
And you think that is going to pass for female socialized behavior. It's not. That is very aggressive. A lot of women are going to be very threatened
God
by
damn.
that. I don't know. Like you can't act. I've seen this with other people where you can't act like male socialized and expect like women to want to like hang around. So yeah, I accept. I accept my trans sisters who do not do those things, who do not act aggressive and punch holes in walls and act in very male socialized ways and don't use the N-word. So, yeah.
Right.
I am transphobic just against one person, Jalen. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, in fairness, if Jalen calls you transphobic, it's not that bad. You're like you're like slightly transphobic. You're not.
I'm only transphobic against one person. That's it. Okay, I am pro trans rights for everybody else. So
right. Well, I will say we are in agreement here, Jalen. You're not a big fan of Keffels, right? At this point.
No, not really.
Weren't you just defending Vaush though?
I don't talk about Vaush.
You said you don't really want to talk about Vaush?
No, not really. It's just not a debate worth talking about until he's dropped his response video.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
I mean, look, I don't think he's a PDF file. I do think he needs.
I completely betrayed our values in this. Is kind of wild. I wish I knew what the context was leading into this.
The stuff in his folder was pretty weird, though. So yeah, pretty degenerate, So yeah,
If there is any context that someone can link me, please let me know.
Yeah. What made you kind of like turn? Not, I wouldn't say turn on Keffels, but see Keffels in a different way than how you see.
She's just an obvious. She's just an obvious.
Is my internet dying?
Cloud Chase.
What the is going on in this conversation, dude?
Hello. Like. Is she okay?
I'm starting to feel a little bit guilty.
Yeah.
Are you all right, Jalen? You don't have to do this.
Up on somebody, Damn.
Yeah. I like you guys had a little argument. It's okay now. Like we were just talking about Keffels. Like there's nothing crazy going on.
What the fuck is happening?
I've kind of run out of things to say, Jalen. Is there anything else you wanted to talk to Stardust about? Are they talking? I can't tell. Am I not hearing them?
No, I'm not talking. But
no,
maybe.
I'm talking. Well.
Oh, Jalen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe her mic's not working. I don't know.
Yeah, Jalen. I don't know if your mic's not working or what. We haven't been able to hear you. Well, I'll read some donations while we wait for Jalen to talk. Teddy with $9.99 says Jalen is a seasoned pro when it comes to N-word debates. Well, watch of Stardust. Red Hood $5. I dipped listening to Soup prank call Indian scammers for this fight. Make it interesting. Drop slurs. I don't care. Red Hood $2. Bring
Yeah, I
on
was
Mission
expecting
Beavers.
that.
Yeah, and then
I turned on
Teddy.
my Twitch stream for this, you know? I was expecting something.
Teddy with the 20 says Jalen has an interesting tactic here, just not responding. It's a great tactic. It's I think it's working. I think Stardust is very thrown off by this tactic.
Jalen's just high as
Inside,
gotcha.
I will say, yeah.
Yeah. I got. Well, go ahead, Beavers.
Okay, it's about the Vaush.
I only know of a clip from Stardust stream just going off on the Jalen person for not trying hard enough to be a woman or something. Can you link that to me somewhere? I know that you can't link in the YouTube, but if you link it to me on Discord, that would be interesting to see. What insanity is on the menu today? Or link it in Kick. That would also be helpful. Okay, let's pause this one. Try and get the loyalty up a little bit.
Thing.
Okay.
Right? So Stardust said she's not ready to call.
Thank you very much for trying to find it.
File at this point.
Yeah.
Right. But here's my thing. If I hired a pet sitter, right, and just prior to him coming to look after my dogs, he pulled out his phone and
he had furry shit on it.
He was just rubbing one out to like not furry shit necessarily, but like an actual dog, a human a dog in the ass. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
feel comfortable leaving him with my pets.
I agree with you.
So
I agree
my
with you.
argument is,
Look, here's the thing, Beavers. Here's the thing. The only reason I'm not okay. I am not ready to call somebody a PDF file yet because that is such a heavy word, and I feel like that is just a recipe for like disaster. I'm willing to call them a degenerate. You know, they're into some really weird shit. I agree with you there, and probably don't have that guy around. You know, certain people and things, right? You know, so yeah. But I do have to say he was very nice to me in person when I met him. So you know, yeah. But he's into some weird shit. He needs to just own up to it. He just has to be like, yeah, it is weird that I want to be a horse. And I want to be a horse for somebody, you know, because that's weird. It's weird. I mean, is it zoophilia if you want to be the horse and fuck somebody else? You know, is it bestiality? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to call it.
I personally think it just speaks to the way he views woman more so than anything. He wants to see a woman get by a horse, right? It's a bit degrading.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because he can say as much as he wants, like, I wish I could be the horse, right? But that ain't gonna happen. At the end of the day, you're looking at a horse a woman.
Yeah, but I'm still confused though if it's bestiality or not. Because if you're the horse the human, is it still bestiality?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you have to.
But you're the horse.
Perspective, it's still
from the lady's perspective, but from the horse's perspective, what is it?
Can we skip the
sentient horse? By the way, it's a sentient horse. Or you know.
Oh, sorry, Tron.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving away from.
You know that would probably be Nazis if you're not willing to get hit back, right? And don't join.
Get away from the Vaush horse
with,
shit.
You know,
I just want to stop talking about it now.
If you're not willing to fight,
we got our fun out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I get that.
I didn't think the fight was that bad. That's why I was.
Well, I mean,
I could have gone much harder.
I guess because I know trans people that there's just things that hit them harder, and telling them that they aren't feminine is like the worst thing in the world.
But if you make no effort, like when I was doing this on Twitter, when I was beefing with her on Twitter, I am in a group chat with a bunch of trans women who were all in agreement with me. So it's not like
this is a really bad argument. Oh my gosh, Star, don't do that.
I guess I just.
Yeah, I'm not gatekeeping womanhood from all trans women. I think trans women, are very much entitled to womanhood, right? But if you don't act like one, if you act in very male socialized ways, you're gonna have problems, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and I know Jalen is definitely not someone that I would typically even. I'm not like defending anything that she's done. I don't know. I guess because I saw her crying, I just felt bad. I don't know.
Look, here's the thing. People like Jalen make us, I feel like, libs and leftists look pretty bad, because if you have somebody who is supposed to be like on the left and they are just dropping the N-word and the F slur like left and right like it's candy, you know, like you're handing out candy.
And Rebel Mango, the thing is, like, I'm in that group chat too. Like, we're in the same group chat. I won't like say whose group chat it is, but like, damn, dude, don't throw all of them into this and like implicate them if it ever comes out I say if it ever comes out as if it's something that's hidden. I just don't know if it's a publicly acknowledged group chat, but it's one that I'm in. It's one that Stardust is in, and she shouldn't be like trying to bring in like I have a trans friend and they all agree with me. So like she wouldn't accept that from anybody else on any other topic. Why is she doing it now? Like it's just kind of stupid, right?
But I can have a conversation with like several like neo-Nazis and they won't ever drop that word and they'll still treat me with some like dignity, even though they don't think I'm part of their ideal future. Like it makes us look bad. It really does, you know?
How much have you interacted with Jalen Stardust?
This is the first time I'm interacting with her in person, but I've heard of her, I've seen videos.
Because like we're kind of that's kind of what just Jalen does is she says horrible things about people and then she like we're not saying it's right. We're just saying we're used to it. It's like,
yeah,
like
look, I'm used to it too. I'm used to it too. There are some people who will be like super nasty to me, and I'm used to that. I'm used to that as well. But yeah, I was just expecting a little bit more fire here, you know. So
I just wasn't expecting her. I was not expecting the Jalen any other community other than this one crossover. I think that too is kind of surprising. That
what the Jalen Stardust crossover, you mean?
Like outside of the people that have dealt with her and know how she gets, I just didn't expect. Yeah, Jalen and Stardust. I don't know. I don't know. I don't catch up with like food shops or anything, but I don't know if like she's ever dealt with them. And that's like it is. It's weird. The Jalen Stardust crossover is extremely surprising.
Dude.
It's nuts. And she blocked me on Twitter, so I wasn't able to see a lot of the stuff.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for Kuman's stream tomorrow. Stardust made a trans woman cry.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Can't
Stardust
wait.
made trans women cry. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jalen, are you okay? Everything good? Like we're not gonna bite your head off.
Hold on. Is
like
it gets better.
Okay,
I don't want to keep watching this if she just never says anything. Does she ever say anything in this debate, like whatsoever? Does she like? Is there any? Is it just like her there as a punching bag the entire time? Because if so, I don't care to watch this. It's like not even that funny because I don't know who the this Jalen person is. I don't really care unless there's. I mean, allegedly, Star sold out all of her values, but I'd like to see what that means. Although I kind of understand what they mean when it's talking about the transphobic stuff. I guess. But like, yeah, I guess I would just like to actually see what the drama is.
What the fuck is that? You suck at this. Holy shit.
I really do. Yeah.
I mean, Jessica and Matt were mad at each other for like half a year, and you know, Matt made her cry, you know, and now they're talking to each other.
Been there, done that.
You know.
Yeah.
Shit happened.
Yeah. If I can do it, and I didn't too mad, then you can do it too. So I'm not good at this at all. I'm just trying to lighten the mood a little. But anyways, okay. I've embarrassed myself enough. I'm gonna go now.
All right, all right, Jalen. Well, I'm sorry this kind of affected you in that sort of way. I thought it was just going to be more kind of just like you guys throwing shit at each other and having a little fun like you usually do. I didn't know it was you were personally affected by this like that. Is there anything that you wanted to say before we just pop out?
No, just everyone's right. That's it.
Well, okay. Oh well,
Damn.
that's jeez. Okay. That was awkward.
Look,
I did not expect that.
I will say,
Is that
like,
it?
look, if this is somebody having like a moment of reflection and realization, that's good. And, you know, as I said before, maybe one day Jalen will be somebody who I am down to defend their trans rights, okay? Maybe they will be. I could be wrong. She could prove me wrong, okay? But right now it's not it. Right now it's not it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm just waiting for Nick to pop in and press the ultimate review time.
I'm just waiting. I think what you said is I'm just waiting for Nick to come in and save us, please.
No. I'm waiting for it's
I'll make
time.
What's his name on this one?
Yeah.
What?
Verse
Let's
dropped.
talk. What did he say?
Hold on, Verse. Did you do it in Streamlabs?
Hope he did in Streamlabs. I don't have it set up right now.
Yeah. I don't think we have it set up. Fuck. All right.
I mean, imagine, okay, all I did was ask, like, why she called me a Nazi, and then said, why did you tell my friend who got hate crimed that you wanted her to die? Like, that was enough to make her cry. Like, goddamn, dude.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
She don't get hate crimed. Are they brown or
They got hate crime because they're trans.
yeah.
So it was like,
yeah.
they got like beat up and assaulted. So, and Jalen basically said like, I hope you die, or I wish you died.
Jalen did the same thing Jalen always does. Beavers. Jalen, they reacted in the way where they said a horrible thing about Stardust. Stardust fired back, and yada yada. You know. But I mean, I guess you swung first though, right?
Yeah. To be fair, I did swing first last night when I went on my rant. But you know, she didn't have to say what she did on Twitter. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
The thing about Jalen is Jalen has like all the right stuff to be like a super edgy person, right? In reality, they are a really edgy person. But as soon as you say they can say things about you and you can't say things about them, that is the way that Jalen works. Right? So Jalen can insult your trans or say that she wishes that you're trans friend got beaten to death because they're trans. But if I had to say that same thing towards Jalen, I am a transphobe and I belong in hell and I'm a Nazi. And
yeah.
Like that.
I mean, apparently she's told Jewish people about going to gas chambers.
Yeah,
and stuff.
we were there. We were there for that. Yep.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, she doesn't mean it when she says it. She's just saying horrible things to say them. Like, I don't think there's any conviction in what she means. She's just being edgy.
That's an argument. That's been an argument. That when you say it, you mean it. But when she said it,
That's it. She doesn't come back.
She's being edgy for edgy's sake.
What the
I don't
is this
stand by it.
drama?
I mean, I feel like all of the trans women I know, you know, make an effort to not, you know, be unhinged, right? And maybe she has some mental health issues she needs to work out, but like, yeah, I've never had any problem accepting trans women into, you know, what it means to be a woman, right? Obviously there are going to be like different struggles we have, you know, but yeah, I mean, Jalen just isn't doing it for me. That's super, like, what woman have you heard drop the N-word like Jalen does? Like, what woman have you heard, like, you know, hard art? What woman have you heard, like, scream and rage the way that Jalen does, or punch holes in walls? Like, we have moments, but, you know, not like that, you know? So,
I don't think you've ever been around white trash.
Yeah, but even white trash women, no, even white trash women are not like that, I feel. Like, they might say some stuff that's edgy, but I feel like they still don't go as far as Jalen's gone, so, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, well, what's up?
Say the N-word in public. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
private.
What are you talking about? Always say it in public. That way you earn the respect.
Yeah, but you're not a white woman. You're a white man. I expect you to say the N-word.
Oh god, Nick just tweeted out, Jalen.exe has failed, and it's a picture of Jalen just like depressed on our screen.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I saw that she was crying. I
didn't. I had the cameras off.
I actually
was
didn't
sitting
see
there
it.
like,
I actually
Matt
didn't
is the
see
guy
it.
in charge.
You're terrible.
That's why I
honestly,
fucking
I'm kind
said
of
to the group chat, I was like, yikes. And nobody
I know.
responded. I was like,
I had the
okay,
I legit had the cameras off, and I just thought Jalen was just like, because Jalen is slow to respond. So I keep cameras off because it'll just slow down my laptop. So I just thought she was just being slow to respond, like she always is. I didn't know she was actually just sitting there crying.
Yeah, well, I don't think she realized that she had her camera on. Or at least she forgot that she had her camera on.
No, I think she knew. I think she was just having a moment, and she was messaging probably her friends, or they were telling her to like get off.
Yeah. Jalen's had. I think it's safe to say she's had a rough couple of weeks. She had the whole thing with the roommates, and then you know her favorite political streamer Vaush. You know, it just turns out he really likes horses and children. So you know she went in the defense for him, and there's no really strong defense for him at the moment. So she kind of had to die on that hill, and then her favorite trans MLK, you know, blocked her over some mild criticism.
Yikes.
So she's having a rough one right now. Pull
Yeah.
one out for the boys.
Yeah.
Keppel's blocked her. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, look, I'm glad I didn't see her crying, because if I had seen her crying, dude, I probably would have like, yeah, that is like game over for me. I would have like absolutely folded. But yeah, no, I mean, look, it sucks, you know. I think the only strong argument that she could make in this situation is that there is like a difference between like media that's made off of like raping people versus like fantasy illustrations, but they're still really bad. You know, both of them are still really bad. So yeah, that's like, you know, that's kind of what I would say. So
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think
anyone,
we can like go to bat to bat.
Pull
for
him
it, you know,
in.
so
There we go.
Yeah.
There we
Nick is
go.
the Oreo. Somebody pull Nick in. There we go. Come
Here we go.
And Riley's also.
Yeah.
Don't bring
Hi,
Riley
Zon.
in at the same time.
Yeah, bring Riley in.
Hey,
Hey.
Hi.
I have a question.
Go.
Okay.
Are we actually?
Okay. This is gay. It's stupid. I've seen video game. Bro, this is so stupid. So stupid. Who's on this panel? Bunch of people I don't know. Damn, there really ain't nothing going on today, is there? I tried to warn you about Vaush. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. I was just enjoying my lollipop.
You're
You know,
so
sometimes in life, you hope you're wrong, but then reality just slaps you in the face with confirmation that you were right all along. And that's exactly what has happened here with Vaush.
I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road.
Some of you may remember a video I released a little over a year ago where I waved some really bright red flags about an anime list I found that belonged to Vaush and contained some highly questionable content. I need to share a link with you that I stumbled on recently. Here it is on your screen right now. I'm sharing it with you because as a father of young children, 2 of them, I found the contents of that link to be very unsettling. Because on that list are more than 200 different anime titles, many of which contain very young children who are put in very adult situations. Situations that some terminally online folks apparently find acceptable, but I find disgusting. Now, you are totally free to dissect the contents of that list on your own and come to your own conclusions and do what you wish after you come to those conclusions. But I need to get my thoughts out there. So here they are. First, if you think that the material that is explained by anime enthusiasts as essentially softcore anime CP, if you think that is in any way okay, you are wrong, and you should go find a good therapist and talk with them about that. And also, until you do get the help that you need, if you happen to be a subscriber of mine, I need you to unsubscribe immediately, okay? Second, the absence of the hardcore stuff from this list means nothing, because to my understanding, you're not going to find any of that hardcore stuff on this website.
We've all jerked at the lolly at some point or another.
You'll find it on
That
Vaush's
Vaush
computer,
can somehow
though.
show that this list isn't his. But if he can't, I hope that at the very least, he'll explain how he feels about this stuff and why he thinks it's disgusting, if he does.
Oh boy.
The video was met with immediate ridicule, dismissal, weird accusations, and a stream of very stupid excuses. But there was one excuse I heard more than any from Vaush and his audience, and that was that
even though Vaush may have watched Wally at some point before, he didn't like it. And it's not something that he consumes routinely.
well, my, how the tables have turned. As you probably know by now, in a recent stream, Vaush accidentally revealed his downloads folder, and lo and behold, it contains sexually charged images of horses, and most disturbingly, explicit lolly images.
Because when you feel like a dirtbag, it's because you're a dirtbag, right? So just own it. Just say it out loud. I am a dirtbag.
And as you might expect, this revelation has sparked widespread and extraordinary criticism, and rightly so. And this is the part where I get to say, I told you so. I tried to warn you. I even tried, from the standpoint of a fan of Vaush's at the time, to give him the opportunity to clean things up, to own up to his weird perversions, and to stop consuming this filth. And do that before
That's so
it got
brutal,
really
man.
bad for him. But instead of taking that opportunity, he and his audience laughed off my critiques, dismissing my concerns as baseless and an overreaction, and instead of ending his consumption of this indefensible material, it's self-evident now that Vaush continued to consume that stuff and eventually allowed his arrogance to lead to the very sloppiness that eventually got him caught red-handed. And now, here we are. The internet is now ablaze with condemnation, and Vaush's credibility is in tatters. And the select few who unbelievably, weirdly ran to his defense are being rightly torn to shreds too. So, to those who doubted what I said, to those who ridiculed me, and to those who dismissed my warnings, I hope that this serves as a wake-up call. And to Vaush, I hope you take this moment now to take this opportunity to not laugh this off, but to reflect, to learn, to get help, and to genuinely change. It's a short one today, but thank you for watching. If you appreciate this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Let me know what your thoughts are about all this in the comment section down below. Until next time, Old Man Laundry out.
Old Man Laundry out.
Take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I got the horses in the back, horse stock is attached. Hattie's Matty Black, got the butcher's black to match. Riding on my horse, you can whip your Porsche. I've been in a valley, you ain't been up off that porch.
More brutal than expected. Not substantive enough to really say a goddamn thing about. Okay. Anything else, man? Is there anything else? 1 second. It was just spite? Yeah.
Love Machine says 90% of anime characters are underage, but not always drawn as children. So if you ever think an anime character is hot, you're basically a pedo on YouTube.
My general says there is no point in continuing this fighting. He is willing to discuss a surrender.
Tell him to go to hell.
We haven't the proper facilities to take you all prisoner. Sorry. What? We'd like to, but we can't accept your surrender. Was there anything else? My general says there is no point in continuing this.
We haven't the facilities. I don't know if I want to watch a react of a react, or I don't want to react to a react. That kind of makes me want to die. Man, everyone's covering the Vaush stuff, and I don't have anything else to say about it. Like, 1 sec. Let's see if there's anybody that's live right now that I can talk to, but I don't feel like there is about it. No. Yeah. Oh well. Well, I guess that'll be it for me today. There's nothing really to cover. The problem is, like, I would keep streaming, but it just feels like there's goddamn nothing going on right now except for, like, if we look at the news, the Nike Johnson memes, Mike Johnson memes. Here, let's look at that for a second.
President Biden said just moments ago the White House is considering additional sanctions on Russia after the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny while he was imprisoned in Russia. Let's get straight to CNN's MJ Lee, who was there listening to these comments. Do we have any idea of when this decision was made and when these sanctions might be put into place?
Yeah, Sarah, the president just returned to the White House after over the weekend saying repeatedly that he believes Vladimir Putin is directly to blame for Alexei Navalny's death and that this is just one more sign of the Putin regime's brutality. The news of his death, of course, as you know, has really brightened the spotlight on Congress as additional U.S. funding for Ukraine remains stalled. And a question that I just asked the president is whether he would draw that connection between Congress's inaction and Navalny's death. And this is a part of his response to me just now.
I wouldn't use that term.
Would you go so far as to say that the blood of Alexei Navalny is on the Republicans right now? That would be a stretch even for me, and I hate the Republicans. Yeah, I don't think that one. I don't know if that's the move there, Chief.
They're making a big mistake not responding. Look, the way they're walking away from the threat of Russia, the way they're walking away from NATO, the way they're walking away from meeting our obligations is just shocking. I've been for a while. I've never seen anything like this.
How do you believe that will make any difference in nudging House Republicans to take up Ukraine aid? They're on vacation right now.
I hope so, but I'm not sure.
I know my second question was a little bit challenging to hear, but I was asking him whether he thinks Navalny's death will do anything to nudge House Republicans to take action. He obviously didn't sound very optimistic. He also told another reporter that the U.S. is considering additional sanctions on Russia, but no additional details were given by the president when he was speaking to reporters. Over the weekend, the president also talked about this critical Ukrainian town that fell, and administration officials have been warning warning for months and months that if U.S. funding runs out, that there are going to be detrimental effects on the battlefield for Ukrainian forces, running out of ammunition, running out of important equipment. And that is what Ukraine is saying is happening already. And the president over the weekend did say that he was concerned that additional towns could end up falling if Congress doesn't take prompt action. But of course, the political reality that he is grappling with right now, as we just heard him talk about, is that there is a small faction of House Republicans that is not willing to take up this national security supplemental bill that does have some $60 billion in additional aid for Ukraine. Sarah?
MJ Lee asking the important questions there and getting some good answers. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Fred?
All right, Sarah, just moments ago, we learned that Alexei's mother, they're lying and they're waiting for the traces of another of Putin's Novichok to disappear.
Путинского новичка.
CNN senior international correspondent Frederick Pleiken joining us now. Fred, the Kremlin has said that an investigation is underway. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, they said this investigation is underway and that this investigation is open-ended, that it's unclear what exactly the results of this investigation are going to be, which it appears to mean that if you take into account the spokesperson of Navalny's comments that apparently the body for at least the next 14 days is going to be under some sort of investigation. There might be some sort of autopsy or other tests that are going to happen. Obviously, as we've heard there from Yulia Navalnaya herself, she does not believe in any of that. She does not believe that the Russian authorities are telling the truth. She was referring there to Novichok apparently wearing off. That, of course, is a reference to the chemical nerve agent that not only Navalny's organization, but also internationally, a lot of countries said that Alexei Navalny was poisoned with earlier, a couple of years ago, where then he ended up in treatment where I am right now in Berlin. Of course, at this point in time, it's very difficult or impossible to say what exactly happened to Alexei Navalny, but what we can see there from his widow, from Yulia Navalnaya, is that she does not believe anything that the Russian authorities are saying. And certainly what we've been seeing over the weekend is Alexei Navalny's mother trying to get some sort of access, first of all, to the morgue where they thought that the body was, and then also to the forensics lab where they believe that some of these tests are being done, so far to no avail. All of this happening in the way north of Russia, above the Arctic Circle, just to give an impression of how difficult it is for Alexei Navalny's organization and also for his family to get any sort of access. These are, of course, extremely remote parts of Russia where even communication can be quite difficult from those areas. So we heard there from Alexei Navalny's widow that they want to find out what exactly happened. But I think one of the other things, Frederica, that you also said is also very telling and very important, and that is the fact that she is already meeting with EU leaders, with EU foreign ministers, trying to continue his work, which is what she has vowed to do, guys.
All right, Fred Pleiken, thank you so much. Kate.
Joining me now to talk much more about this is Julia Ioffe, founding partner, Washington correspondent for Puck. Julia, it's good to see you. You were there at the Munich conference when the news came out and Alexei's wife, Yulia, made that remarkable appearance just after learning that her husband was dead. What do you make of what we're now hearing today from Yulia? She believes that Alexei was poisoned once again. Do you think the world...
Bro, why? Well, here's the question. What would the Russians gain? What would Putin gain by poisoning... What would he gain by poisoning Navalny now when he's already in a prison? Was he about to get out or something? Or... like, why would they poison him now when he's already in a prison where he can't, like, spread his message or whatever? Because, like, I'm not going to dismiss that out of hand, but the idea is a little bit strange to me when I just don't know why they would do it.
The world will get a clear answer?
I don't think the world will get a clear answer. In fact, Alexei Navalny spoke about this in an interview after he had made a long way on his recovery from the first time he was poisoned with Novichok. And the interviewer asked him, you know, if you die,
A warning before the
if something happens to you, will we ever get an answer?
Elections,
Will we know
got
what
it.
killed you? And he actually said, you know, this is what will happen if I die. The Kremlin is going to say was, you know, he died of some kind of cardiac failure. Everybody else is going to say this is very suspicious. They'll have rallies for me with people holding photographs and posters of my face on them, but we will never know what killed me. It will always be known as a suspicious death. He seemed to foretell it because, frankly, he knew the system so well, and I think he's right.
The family being blocked from accessing his body, Putin spokesperson telling journalists this morning in a call, we are not involved in this matter, and that means in returning his body. This is not the responsibility of the presidential administration. And now we're learning just in the last few minutes that they've said, the Kremlin has said they will not be releasing his body for 14 days. There's always a mind game element when it comes to a lot of what Vladimir Putin says, at least. And I'm starting to wonder if there's a mind game element to this.
I think it's a pretty simple mind game, and I can give your viewers the key to it right now. Basically, whatever the Kremlin says, be it Dmitry Peskov, Putin spokesperson, Putin, or any representative of the Kremlin, all the way down to the prison authorities of the prison where Alexei Navalny was killed. Whatever they say, it's the opposite of the truth. That's it. So the other thing I would say is that when they say the body won't be released for another 14 days, it doesn't mean that the body will be released in 14 days, nor does it mean it will be released in any kind of state in which the family can use it to conduct an independent investigation. I would not be surprised if, after a month or two, the relatives get a box of what is said to be Navalny's ashes, and whether they are or not, we won't know. But I think what's clearly happening is the state is trying to cover up what happened, trying to hide all evidence of this, and make sure that we never know what happened. In fact, we saw this when Navalny was poisoned with Novichok in August of 2020. He investigated this himself with his team of investigators, as well as with Christo Grozev. It was on the CNN documentary Navalny. When he called the FSB agent, who was one of the people responsible for poisoning him, he explained what they did to cover up what they did. So I'm sure that that's exactly what's happening right now.
The death of Alexei Navalny is a major, shocking, but not surprising event. It is an intentional act of political killing secondary to prolonged torture led onto underlying poor health caused by Kremlin poisoning. For Putin, the tyrant who couldn't even say Navalny's name in public, this is an own goal. It's not going to work out in his favor. Before we go on, a warning. The Kremlin will saturate the informational environment with deliberately contradictory messages about what happened. Be aware of that. You're going to hear that it's an accident, that the West did it, that the Kremlin had no motives for it, and so on. Let's look at who Navalny was, why he died, and what this means for the future of Putin's brutal regime. Navalny stood out among the Russian opposition for being a political animal. His stance against Putin's regime wasn't activist or moralized. It was all about change, transformation, agency, creating instability, creating conflict. And that made him stand out against peers who very often engaged in activism rather than politics. Navalny was also extraordinarily ambitious, to the point that witnessing that even via a screen could leave one exhausted. He was thinking about whether every little thing he did was something that was going to get him closer or further away from his political goals. He also had a kind of sense of freedom, even though he was in chains, a remarkable capacity to feel free no matter what happened to him. That generated enormous political courage, the kind of courage that led him to return to Russia after the Kremlin poisoned him, knowing what the consequences were likely to be. This is an own goal for Putin. Putin has now penciled Navalny in as a descendant of the 19th century tradition of Russian anti-authoritarian activism and literature, folks from Belinsky to Bakunin. Now, Putin kept Navalny alive for such a long time because he understood the downsides of ending Navalny's life. And it's also possible that what the Kremlin did is simply introduced a systemic and significant risk of Navalny's death.
The problem with Russian opposition is that it's all about anti-Putin. Well, Putin is the party, right? Putin is the party. He is everything about it. Everything about Russia and its politics revolves around what Putin wants. So I don't think that you can fairly lay that critique when it feels like, yeah, no, obviously they're anti-Putin. Yeah, they're anti-Putin because that's the entire political system of Russia, right?
And waiting to see what happens. But the bottom line is that this is not an entirely sober act of political calculation by the Kremlin. There is an element of vengeance and vindictiveness here, and that may well backfire for Putin, with the historical significance of Navalny now growing and becoming a political force, if not immediately, then in the years to come. What this tells us about the Putin regime is really significant. We're not just looking at a dreadful regime engaged in a loathsome war. We're looking at a regime that is and thinks of itself as being at the beginning stages of a series of totalitarian turns. That's a paradoxical thing for the regime, because they are making inroads into a depoliticized population, politicizing it even though they need it to remain depoliticized. They're going to experience bumps along this road. But we're going to see widening of repression at home, from overt opponents to milder opponents to simply people who contradict the image of a nation at war with NATO or at war with the world being picked up. And there is also going to be a deepening of repression. Navalny's death shows us that people who are on the regime's blacklist may be, in time, lined up for physical destruction. And these totalitarian turns at home are inseparable from a pattern of escalation abroad. The reason for the totalitarian turns is regime security that is going to be expressed in a large-scale standoff against the West, against NATO, that may or may not take the form of an overt conflict. So the point of this clamping down inside is that this stuff is going to come toward us, capacity allowing, in years to come. What is Navalny's political legacy? His most important impact may well, as we've just said, be posthumous. But what he did in his life was important and really hard. He was trying to politicize a radically depoliticized population. That's a little bit like being an activist against harassment at work in 1900, before the concept of harassment exists. It's a really difficult enterprise, and he alone among the Russian opposition stood out as somebody capable of politicizing the Russian space. He had a couple of weaknesses. A minor weakness was his aversion to coalition building. A major weakness that is understandable in his complex historical milieu is, in the end, his ability to politicize not being complemented by an ability to offer an alternative. These are the two things you've got to do as the Russian opposition. You politicize and you offer an alternative. Navalny's ideas toward an alternative path for his country too much became derivations of a story about how Russia needs to live like the civilized world, like the West. Navalny was not an intellectual, but there was a Fukuyamian teleology structuring his idea of what
does that
Russia's
mean?
future might hold. And that ended up leaving us in a situation where the very last person to offer a vision on the Russian space, whether you think the vision is good, bad, or incoherent, remains Gorbachev. At this point, a routine question might arise, and that is, was Mr. Navalny a Russian imperialist? And you've got to feel two bits to the answer to that question, actually. The first is that if the Russian opposition have a problem with imperialism, it's less about positive imperialist instinct and more about that incapacity to offer an alternative. Because to develop an adequate relationship with imperialism, you've got to come out of it, visualize an alternative, and then take practical political steps toward it. And the second bit of the answer we've got to feel through is that there is a danger of us ourselves developing a consumerist and depoliticized relationship with the Russian opposition. Let's quickly think about this. this. Mr. Navalny responded to the annexation of Crimea in 2014 by calling it illegal and unacceptable, but then he went on to say that Crimea isn't a sandwich that can just be passed back to Ukraine. Now, it's possible to analyze this psychologically and sociologically, but there isn't much politics in this. Why? Because nobody is offering us, people in the West, or indeed Ukrainians, members of the Russian opposition, as consumable goods we might want to buy or not, or as potential political leaders for our countries. No, they're folks who are acting politically on the Russian space, and the political question we have to ask about it is what they are doing serving our interests or not? And if it's not, how could we encourage them to do things that are going to serve our political interests more? That's an answer that's properly political. What are the implications for the Russian opposition? At this time, our thoughts go out to everybody connected with Mr. Navalny, the way we daily think of Ukrainians. But there are big political implications. Mr. Navalny's death is as big a political event as any on the Russian space since Putin started his brutal invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. As big as the mobilization in autumn 2022, and as big, indeed bigger, than Mr. Prigozhin's mutiny.